Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Passing down low, Reinhardt, they score! Aaron Ekblad makes it 1-0 Florida. Off it goes, Kulikov, and they score! Florida leads 2-0. Click, Forsling quickly to Reinhardt with help coming. Out in front for Boquist, and they score! Jesper Boquist put on the top line tonight, and he makes it 3-0 Florida. Mikkola scores! Another goal from a Florida defenseman, and it's 4-0 Panthers. And here's another goal, this one from Greer. Another unlikely goal score. The route continues.
A tied draw, the puck pokes out to Sam Bennett, and Bennett, who scored a beauty.
And now Seth Jones moving in, shoots, scores! 1-0 Panthers as Seth Jones beats Joseph Woll. Saved by Woll, score! 2-0 Florida. Here's Greer, kicked out by Woll. Greer slides it across, score! Gadjevich makes it 3-0 Florida. Unrestricted free agent Mitch Marner, score! Marchand the shot deflected in by Losterinen. It is now 4-1 Florida. Right off the draw, Reinhardt beats Woll. Now it's Marchand, sends it down into the empty net. An exclamation point off the stick of Marchand, his third point tonight, as he will go 5-0 in Game 7s against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I owe the champion Florida Panthers an apology. I am a coward. I was scared of a Game 5 and Game 7 in Canada. Yeah. And today, South Florida gets to feel pretty good because those hockey losers who invented the sport in Canada never get to win that game. The game is now won in a swamp.
I told you so.
In a swamp. Okay, Roy, nobody likes that guy. Like, nobody likes. All you've got by way of hello is I told you so.
I love that guy.
I will tell you why I don't like that guy. I make fun of Wilbon and Kornheiser for this. They now do a show where it's just old men, and it shouldn't be called Pardon the Interruption anymore. It should just be, I got that right. And they go 4 for 10. And they don't mention the 6 they got wrong. Now, you were not afraid, admittedly. Roy was not in any way afraid. We'll get to his thoughts in a moment. But those goal calls we played, they had the best part missing. I again listened to the game this way, Stugotz, because I have not felt this kind of sports excellence down here in my lifetime, except when the University of Miami football team had all the first-round picks and when the Miami Heat had LeBron, Wade, and Bosch. But this team, I mean, Paul Maurice is now 27-0 in the playoffs when he has a lead after any period.
That's crazy.
That's not the craziest stat I have for you today.
I doubted that stat. I was like, I'm going to go back and look it up. And it's true.
It is true. Anytime they lead after a period, they win the playoff game.
A period?
A period. Sorry. Thank you, Zaz. I did that incorrectly.
I don't think Chris went back and looked it up. I think he just accepted it.
No, I did. No. In my defense, and Stu knows me.
It's the greatest compliment that it's the greatest compliment that Chris deigns to read, and unlike his father, retain a morsel of information because he heard something, couldn't believe it was true, and then verified it.
I'm not gonna lie, I went back, I looked up the first 5, and I'm like, all right, 5 in a row. It's probably the next 27. That's good enough for me.
Attaboy.
Okay, give me the stat of the day for a second. I'm going to give you one off of yesterday's game, but we didn't play the best part of those goal calls.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the
I know it.
Chris just admitted to me he didn't look anything up.
That's such a surprise.
I believed him for a moment.
They all just back here, Chris and Tony talking, it would be impossible to look up. Right. And they're like, well, you could look up. You could see every time they took a lead. Nah, too much work.
Well, somebody did look it up. We should be crediting them. Instead, we're stealing it, not crediting them, and you're not even looking it up. Ladies and gentlemen, journalism. Chris Cody, learn from his father.
Also, he said the first 5. I knew that was BS.
Right, of
first
course.
5, please give me a break.
Jeez.
Okay, there's so many stats off this game, Stugotz. But last night, to punctuate that series and end that loser franchise that way.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida.
They're losers.
But they are. They're
right.
They're historic losers. They play in that game. When they do, they always lose it. And no one ever loses it like that. Like that doesn't happen at home. But they knew it was going to happen. They knew after the first goal. They knew that's how that was going to go. Like that. Toronto is a sad sack franchise of 0-7 in all the games that matter. That's not the great stat. This is the great stat. Just from in the last couple of games, you had the Florida Panthers, champions, in the situation. They had to win 2 out of 3 on the road. They were an overtime goal from being down 3-0, Stugotz. They were an overtime goal from being finished. And then they've got to go on the road and win 2 out of 3 in Toronto. And we can admit, right, you've seen those crowds. They were trying to believe. They wanted to believe. They were an overtime goal from being up 3-0 and dethroning the champions. After that happened, the Florida Panthers didn't merely score 12 goals and outscore the Toronto 12-4.
It's so many goals.
Yeah.
But not so many goals. Like, that'd be one thing. What if I gave you odds on what I'm about to say? What odds do you think if I told you right as Game 5 was beginning, here's what's going to happen? The Panthers are going to get 12 goals. They're going to all be from 12 different players, and none of them are going to be named Tkachuk or Barkov.
Is that the stat? Or?
What kind of odds do you think you'd get on that? 12 goals, 12 different players, none of them are Barkov or Tkachuk. That's nuts. Like, that's a depth that makes this year's Panthers team better than the last 2. Because at the end, what you've got finishing Toronto is the greatest Toronto finisher of all time. Marchand is now 5-0 against them in elimination games. They're 0-7 in their last 7. This goes back to 2013. And the most amazing thing that happened yesterday, and it's why Mike Ryan's not here today, that coward. After the game, Paul Maurice said, I used to hate him. Hate's a strong word, but I didn't know him. He's the opposite of the person I thought. And then here's the quote. He's a wonderful human being. It's the most shocking thing to happen in the last 3 games. A goal and 2 assists for Marchand, and he punctuates it by stabbing that country in the heart. It's got to make him crazy that it's a swamp in Carolina.
And Dallas. I mean, think of the 3 teams, 3 of the 4 teams remaining.
It's got to make those losers in Canada crazy.
Now you're talking.
Did you see there's this one clip where they're watching, what's it called, like Maple Leaf Square, whatever they call it, outside.
Oh, in my veins.
Where they're all watching outside the arena. And I don't know if it was at 3-0 or maybe it was at 4-1. This one rogue Maple Leafs fan, he pushes his way through the crowd, bumps through everybody, and just dips. Just by himself, walks out with everybody staring at him in shock. Oh, I loved it.
I feel like you spoke to the depth of this series is the story of this series. I can make the argument our 3rd and 4th. Well, the 3rd line was clearly the best line in this series. I can make the argument that the 4th line was the 2nd best line for the Panthers. I know Barkov and Reinhart were actually really good in this series defensively. Like, they didn't put up stats scoring, But I just Zaz, the depth of the is that not the story of this series?
I don't know if it's the story of the series, but I think the Panthers' fourth line was better than the Marner Matthews line. I think that.
Yeah, 3 goals from the third line, 1 goal from the fourth line. Secondary scoring for the Panthers really carried them.
I think the story is, especially with the way that the series ended, the 2 acquisitions that Bill Zito made, Marchand and Seth Jones.
The Seth Jones
in a game 7. In a game 7, you found out what Seth Jones about.
Nobody likes I told you so guy. And
Sorry.
Roy is I told you so guy. We have established that, correct?
Seth Jones, my dog.
But
I also told you that they would win Game 5 on the road, lose
And I
Game
told you
6,
so off?
and win Game 7.
oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Isn't I told
that's
Everyone was
Roy
right.
just was just generally confident.
Okay. You know what?
Before Game 5, I told you specifically, gonna win tonight, gonna lose Game 6.
Is that on
gonna
wax?
win in
Do we
7.
have that
No,
recorded
is
somewhere?
on
We gotta
wax.
go
Let's find
find
that.
that.
Let's find that.
Stugotz, can we put together an I told you so off? Like you would totally
Please,
be
yes.
totally be the host of an I told you so off. I did text Roy after that first period. By the way, for the record, if you don't know what we're talking about and you did not watch that game, you've got Toronto at home, and the best part of these goal calls is what I'm going to play for you in a second because they edited it out, and it's just tremendous. But these people know hockey. So when they're seeing 75 shots in 2 periods, they're like, oh, good God. Like, we were totally lucky in that first period. And this is an onslaught of we're going to dent the goalie's nipples because 75 shots is an insanity.
Dan, at one point in the first period, late in the first period, Kenny Albert, with a straight face, said on the broadcast that the Panthers are out shooting the Maple Leafs 26-0.
And I'm telling you, after all that, because I know the Leafs, after the Panthers dominated the first 10 minutes, the Leafs kind of got their act together. But after that first period, Panther fans were kind of feeling good. I wasn't. I was like, this is 4 straight periods. We haven't scored. I was starting to see the boogeyman. Even though we were playing well, we weren't getting goals. So I was terrified. I've never been happier. That Seth Jones goal going in. Oh, the noise I made.
Stugotz, I don't want to think about the noises that you made. What's worse, an I told you so off or Tony, who just got here, now claiming he's the good luck charm?
It's a sacrificial one, though, Dan. That's where it's like, it's sacrificial in the sense where anytime that I stop watching, they do well. Anytime I bet on the other team, the Panthers win. So yesterday, I was locked in on the game, Dan, okay? First one that I've seen start to finish, except for a little bit. And I'll explain why. So my wife looks at me, hey, what's for dinner? I said, I don't know. What do you want? Let's pick up something. I said, all right. During the first intermission, I'll go out, I'll get something, I'll come back, right? First intermission was quick. It was a quick 20 minutes. All of a sudden, I'm on my way back, 3 goals scored because I'm not watching. Right? So it was watching the first period, bam, 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 shots going in, off the side, off the post, wall, bam, grabs one. I don't know, whatever they call that.
This happened to a lot of Panther fans. No, this happened to a lot of Panther fans. I got a text from my friend John last night in the middle of the second period. He's like, I went to put my daughter to bed after the first period, and we started scoring. I'm still laying in her bed watching on my phone. This guy knew what he had to do. When you are laying down in your bed watching the game and you're putting your kid to bed and they score 3 goals, you don't get up from that bed and go back downstairs. You stay in that bed while your kid is sleeping watching the rest of the game because it's good luck for you to be in that bed. And thank you, John, for your service. Thank you for what you did last night.
I literally said to my wife last night after the second period, she wanted to go upstairs and go to sleep.
Nope.
I said, listen, you could want that all you want. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
You've been sitting right there. The score's 4-1. You're not going anywhere. You close your eyes if you want, but you're not going anywhere.
Bedtime's 9:15. My daughter didn't go to bed till after that second period. You're not leaving in the middle of this second period where you just scored 3 goals in 6 minutes.
So right. I watched the Heat come back against the Bucks from a bathroom because I went to the bathroom. They were down 16. They start coming back. I stayed in that bathroom.
It's that guy, to answer your question, Dan. The guy who thinks he's doing the things that help the team win.
I know. I don't like that guy. I don't like when our show
But it
becomes
works,
that
Dan.
guy.
You don't know it.
works.
It might have
I've been there, guys.
It works.
It might have been different if I didn't do that. You don't know that.
You guys are pathetic.
I have one more example of me being a good luck charm, okay?
You're pathetic narcissist.
Sure, possibly. Team needed me. Exactly, Zaz. Thank you. Game 3? They're about to go down 3-0, overtime. We're watching with a group of friends. I go, I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk outside right now. The Panthers are going to score because if I'm here, they won't score. They'll lose. If I'm not here, they're going to score. They're going to win. I walked out. 2 minutes later, bam. Thank you, Tony. Save the season. Thanks,
You just wanted to smoke a joint, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Guys, I'm going to go outside for the team.
Tony,
I'll be back in
Dog
10
walker.
minutes.
What happened?
Were you outside when they stole your gimmick? Were you watching as it was happening?
Disgusted. No, I was locked in. So I'm watching the pregame. All of a sudden, a guy called Biz. I don't know who he is. Who is
Paul
he?
Bizanek.
You don't know who he is?
I don't know who he is. Damn, I'm just getting into the sport, buddy. What do you want me to do? All right,
Would you
so-
believe me when
the
I tell
team.
you that he played in the National Hockey League but never played for the Leafs?
Yeah.
what?
Well, he grew up a Leafs fan, but yeah, never.
He
actually
never played for them.
Yeah.
I thought this guy would be like their all-time leading scorer or something. So I'm watching the thing. I'm on the couch. My wife's got the baby. We're hanging out. All of a sudden, this guy gets up from the dais there, starts walking over to the side of the set, and then he starts lighting a candle. My wife perks up. My wife, who has knows less hockey than I do. Okay, she goes, "That's your bit," and I look up from my phone and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's my bit. Can we please zoom in on what this guy Biz Nasty's doing? He's lighting up candles
For all their
that look
stars.
Eerily similar.
These thieves. They
Eerily similar, Dan Le Batard, to a very particular and one of a kind San Boselli Belita. Okay, look at that. I don't know who these guys are, but they're imposters.
He lit
Look
a
at the
candle
original
for
one right
Marner,
there. Look
for
at the original one
Nylander.
right there, and I lit it in the studio.
Huh.
Okay, and that has been war torn right there. That San Boselli. Jags were down 21-0. Okay, we lit the San Boselli. All of a sudden, bam! Jags win. Greatest comeback of their lifetime.
Who is this Biz?
Who is he? I don't know, but he's a thief. En un descarado.
Yeah, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
Sinvergüenza.
Biz un sinvergüenza descarado.
Me and Zaslow are wondering how many hockey terms Tony knows. I mean,
We will quiz him in a moment. Let's figure out the game show in a second. It's fun for the entire family. Let's quiz him and ask him questions in a moment. But I just want to read you guys some stats because 75 shot attempts are the most allowed by any team this season through two periods, regular season and playoffs. It's crazy. You have, all right, that's the largest margin of a Game 7 loss at home in NHL history. It's tied for the previous record. They've been playing hockey a long time. You do not lose Game 7 at home that way. Like, I've never seen it. I don't know when the last, it happened one other time. Don't remember it. Couldn't tell you. I've never seen it. What was it, 1912? How long is hockey history? As long as ice has been frozen, you never see a Game 7 look like that when one of the teams is at home. The Bill Zito thing that you guys mentioned, Tim Reynolds says all Bill Zito has done is get Paul Maurice to unretire, land Matthew Tkachuk, sign basically the entire core to team-friendly deals, win the Cup last year, and this year he adds Seth Jones and Brad Marchand at the deadline, and they lead the way to a Game 7 road win, GM of the year.
hockey started November of 1917.
Okay, so tell me the last time. This was tied for the largest loss at home ever, and this is what brings me to the greatest part of these goal calls. I'm telling you, Stugotz, because I've never been able to do this before. I've never had this confidence that I know what I'm watching is top of the game excellent, that it doesn't matter that Toronto was better in this regular season because the Panthers are best at the hockey stuff that works this time of year. We learned it. They changed the whole blueprint because the Capitals, what they just did in the playoffs, that happened to the Panthers. That don't work in the playoffs. And so while I'm sitting here and I've got all technology available to me, the way that I want to listen to the hockey game is the way that I learned hockey in this market on our radio show because Randy Moeller was loving this team on the radio when no one would listen to it because it was a funny little thing in town that couldn't make sales work, like failed ownership after failed ownership. I learned to love it on the radio somehow, which is ridiculous. It's not any good on the radio. Like, that's not the way to watch hockey.
If you have, well, you're not watching it, you're listening to it.
Thank you.
You got it.
I feel like it's like Mike Ryan's reading, where it's
I was reading the audiobook, but listening
like reading. I feel like radio is watching when it's done well. It's one of the reasons that I love radio. So this is how I decide to listen to in hugely important games. Zaz left here the other day saying, and he's like, God, I hope the Panthers get up 1-0. Because then you can hear the fear through the audio if you're paying attention to nothing else, none of the distractions. And so I decide via YouTube and one of these streamers who's just doing a radio call, I'm listening to the Toronto broadcasters call this game. And what I'm listening for after their sadness, which is great enough, is the silence that comes afterward and the murmur of those losers know they're going to lose.
In my veins.
Those losers know they're going to lose. They know the swamp owns them, owns their country. They know that Florida owns hockey there the last 10 years, and all they do in this situation is lose this game every time. And you can feel it in the building, and you can feel it in the audio.
2002 Western Conference Finals, the Avalanche lost to the Red Wings 7-0, Game 7.
Okay,
there
so
it is.
It did happen in my lifetime.
Yes.
Again, this was before radio and hockey, and I fell in love with the sport.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to the murmur, and this extends through that garden all the way through the country. Like it burns through their forests. They wake up sick today. They know they're losers. The swamp owns them. And listen to the silence in that arena when they weren't booing or leaving, because they were doing that too. Because once it's 3-0, everyone there knows, why am I here for the guillotine? Like, am I going to just sit in this sadness? Listen to the silence after these goals.
As they continue to be aggressive. Scores! And they continue to score. Oh, boy. Sam Reinhart. And it's a 4-goal lead with just over 10 minutes to go.
So hollow.
I think I was able to hear the jersey hit the ice from the crowd.
They were doing that,
And
huh?
you can clearly hear the music, like so clear, because it's just so hollow in there.
Good acoustics in that building.
Marchand sent it down into the empty net. An exclamation point off the stick of Marchand, his third point tonight, as he will go 5-0 in Game 7s against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Sounds like a Marlins game.
It does.
Play it again.
Brad Marchand is now second all-time in postseason points against the Maple Leafs. Second all-time. History of the franchise, behind only Gordie Howe.
Now, if Mike wants to do the whole take of I'm not going to root for him, that's his prerogative. But the whole he's not good thing, I need an apology for that. Wow. Because the guy he's made the third line better. He's great. And I need an apology from Mike.
How is that possible?
Can you cut up Chris saying that as the ultimate compliment? He's great. Just that you were trying to articulate the flowery of prose and you just quit in the middle of your sentence.
I mean, I just was trying to find the words, and great was the word.
It really worked.
You found it.
Nah, let Mike keep doing this because the Panthers are winning. The Panthers are winning despite me.
Actually, he might know what he's doing here.
Again, with this narcissism, we're the reason they win. Again.
That's right.
No, I mean, it's just asinine.
I just said that
right.
guy is annoying, but Mike has to stay entrenched. He does. I mean, he's helping him out.
Okay, look, this. I believe Mike Ryan strategically took this position because he wants the Panthers to win so badly that he will do the ultimate sacrifice, that he's Jesus of hockey. He will be loud wrong and stubbornly loud wrong as content the entire time. And if he's the most wrong at the end, he gets to celebrate because Marchand has won in overtime of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final with a goal to give them the season.
Yep.
And he will then have won, even though he is the loudest, wrongest loser from here through Canada.
Speaking of being entrenched in a terrible take, Witty will join us in the next segment.
Well, they've been looking. I have felt bad for the producers today because they have spent the last 2 hours mining through the rubbish that is the sound from us at the Clevelander when Chris Whittingham, after Huberdeau was traded, quit the Panthers forever.
They tore apart a team that was amazing. Like, from a fan standpoint, like, I go to a lot of games, and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10 because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
they
goals.
They only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points, you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
Listen, pal, to Maurice is one of the most disrespectful things.
Listen
I've
to
ever
me. Listen to me, pal.
I mean, Zaslow fired him. So
I can't believe that Chris Whittingham would show his face in public.
Listen, pal.
No, that's part of it. Yes, condescending Paul Maurice is one thing. Again, Paul Maurice's record since Witty said that, 27-0 anytime he has a lead after a period.
Man, these guys have no idea what they're talking about, huh?
I did dub Paul Maurice that year the murderer of fun.
Yeah, you did.
You don't get away with that. Everyone needs to know
fair.
that. No.
Hockey true. It's actually a good take because he is. Just the other team's fun.
To be fair.
Whittingham should not show his face in public after that, but also to be condescended by anybody with a listen, pal, is one thing. For that bespectacled polysyllabic broadcasting foof with his gelled hair to hit you with a listen, pal, as if he knows more hockey than you just because he's 30 years old and a child prodigy who gets to call soccer games.
How about anyone in South Florida telling a hockey lifer, listen, pal?
I love it.
Whittingham is the most wrong anyone has ever been about hockey. Do you understand that?
And basketball. He called Giannis a number 2.
Yes, he did call Giannis a number 2.
That again, I only know soccer, guys. I don't know when we're gonna understand this.
But
we only
honestly,
know soccer.
Honestly, we are creeping into the territory where this Panthers take is worse than that Giannis take. Because that Giannis take is atrocious.
He's one of the best power forwards of all time. I want to nominate this right here. I want to play it again and nominate this right here as a Hall of Famer all-time wrong take. There are others, but in the history of the show and the history of spoken words, given that Stugotz, I'm coming in here today and I'm saying, oh my God, the Panthers have the best thing. They have the most excellent thing. It's not temporary. They will go in and do that to you, and I will have the confidence to listen to it on the equivalent of the radio because I know I'm going to enjoy silences because they're better than you at this kind of hockey, even if they were worse than you the rest of the regular season. And Whittingham, again, they do murder fun. We said last year, wasn't it great? They're in the corner for 90 seconds. McDavid's right in front of the net. The puck's not coming out.
Goosebumps.
We know the puck's not coming out, but the fun was murdered there.
Once we scored last night, I wanted Mikkola to play the entire game in the corner. Just throw the puck down to Mikkola. God, I love when he's on the ice.
Mikkola almost killed the referee.
He did. That also happened.
That was scary, man.
Dude, was his eyeball out? What happened there?
There was a good 10-second chunk where we all thought he was going to lose an eye, but luckily he got him right above the eye. Ooh. How about that backup referee coming in? I just imagine that guy's probably like the backup referee never goes in. So I'm imagining that guy's got his feet up, eating a burger, just like, this is my free. Oh.
I want to get to this most wrong take, and I want other nominees in our show's history. I've got a couple. But the idea, Stugotz, that I'm going to say it again because it's equally ridiculous. 12 goals by 12 players, not named Kachuk or Barkov, would be as ridiculous a stat to me as 12 goals by 13 players, and none of them are Kachuk or Barkov. That stat makes no sense to me. To get 12 goals from 12 players in the most important games of your season.
Well, I can understand Matthew Kachuk not scoring because he is hurt. He looked bad out
I
there.
said that too.
Yep.
I said that too, that he's hurt.
Another I told you so. You're that guy now. So he's
not hitting anybody.
So wait a minute. You're that guy. You're the guy.
Roy should be that guy.
No, but all of you are now doctors. You're now doctors, and you're the guy who points at your television and says, he's too hurt to be out there.
We just know our Chucky, and he's hitting people, but it's not the way he normally hits people.
I'm a doctor.
You concur?
You're
you concur?
I thought you were a judge.
I'm not a doctor.
I know. But as a judge, do you want to make a ruling on this?
Is Kachuk hurt?
Judge Zaslow rules inconclusive evidence. Inconclusive. With prejudice. Inconclusive.
I mean,
Do you guys want to quiz Tony now? Do you guys have an assortment of questions to ask Tony? Roy, did you come up with any game show music that could support whatever it is that Zaslow is doing here?
I did not.
You did not? You just stared straight ahead, grinning maniacally because the Hockeys have you intoxicated and made you forget to do your job.
That's right.
Okay, so you're just sitting there smiling.
I mean, the Panthers won, Dano.
I know. Okay, so hold on.
He's just been singing back here like humming.
Roy's day, man.
So Roy, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I made this mistake during the last hockey playoffs where Roy was at the elbow room with the cup, and I was yelling at him. So I'm not going to make the same mistake this time.
Thank you.
Roy, the floor is yours, but while you're talking about whatever it is that you would like to say about the Panthers, can somebody please get me game show music so I could play the hot new game of Tony Gets Quizzed by Stugotz and Zaz because someone's executive producing the show instead of just smiling at me because the Panthers have him drunk with power.
He's just like, what's up, Dan?
I'm here.
So please, Roy, you were not scared. I texted you, you're scared, and you're like, nope, we had it even more. We is what you said. As soon as Drake made that giant bet, I believe you were taunting Drake on X.
Yes, I was. You were
very excited.
Yeah, he's been a loser for the past year and a half. And once he put money down in this game, I knew the Panthers were going to win. And the way the Panthers looked in the first 10 minutes of that game, that was classic Panthers. The only thing
What about the second 10 minutes? What about the second 10 minutes?
Yeah,
that was scary.
That made you nervous.
That was everyone's analysis of that first period. Tale of two periods.
It was
10 minutes. It was just like all 9 people that I heard talk about that period. It was hilarious.
It absolutely was a tale of two periods. But second and third period, it was game over. As soon as they got that first goal, I said on Twitter, currently known as X, that once you get Bob 2, it's it. That's how well he was playing. That last 10 minutes, that's how great he was playing.
Nobody likes this fan base. Nobody likes this team. They are the murderers of fun. Everyone hates this show. This conversation of swaggering around, I told you so, we're the baddest and the best because you beat the Leafs. And what cometh this way is scary. Canada's only got a one chance, but I'm scared of it.
What, Winnipeg?
No,
Winnipeg. No, not
Winnipeg's out,
Winnipeg.
Stugotz.
Oh, they're out.
They lost Stugotz.
Oh, that was a story right there. Mark Scheifele. He lost his father on Friday and decided to play Game 6 on Saturday. And he scored. He played an excellent game, but he got caught with a penalty on a breakaway, and the Stars scored in overtime.
You can't call that penalty.
So it's his fault, you're saying, that they lost?
No, I'm not. No. It was a tale of two games for him.
It was wild to go from he scores the first goal, and you're like, what an awesome moment, to going to overtime. He does the penalty and loses them the game.
He was stuck in the box.
So the Oilers won that series, huh?
No, the Stars.
The Stars.
Listen,
Oilers
here,
you know what?
Coach
Hold
K,
on a
Teddy
second.
Company.
Oilers won
He's
too.
right.
Mike
He's right about that.
Cardozo. I mean, the Oilers did win, right? They
Yes,
won
they did.
something.
Okay.
They moved on, right?
They beat Vegas.
Thank you.
Hold on.
I had some oil.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
The Grateful Dead has gotten him. A lot of you have been asking where is Stugotz, and we thought he was going to be here all last week, but when the Grateful Dead ransack him, he will see 1,000 Krzyzewskis across 1,000 desert miles for 1,000 days.
So much shoe polish.
And we've lost him, and so he hasn't been paying attention to sports. And I'm going to say just generally the last 4 years of mushrooms has fried what little remained of his brain.
I'm just grateful he's here.
Thank you, Jeremy. You're going to have to leave as
Whoa!
well.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, high sticking.
You're 2 for 2 on those, by the way. You found those buttons really well.
I'm learning. Give me time. I'm going to figure out this radio game. The soundboard. What? We're a podcast?
All right, our game show's ready. We have our host here. We have our music ready.
But I love Roy just grinning maniacally in the middle of this and just forgetting to do his job. And I wish, can we get him a crown or something? Because I really do want to do this better than I did it last year. I failed Roy. I owe Roy a public and private apology because he was at the elbow room and the trophy was there and I was yelling at him. And just that group of things shouldn't be.
I got dibs on that beat if we win again this year.
No.
I mean, we can maybe both go. That next day, I'm going to be there. Shirtless.
Whoa.
Hammered.
Whoa.
I just remember last year sitting in this room that day, just being like, "Why am I not there?"
Shirtless, hammered, and pink.
Okay,
Whatever
can
you
we
need.
can
Whatever
we not
you need.
Okay, can we not talk about what we're gonna do when the Panthers
You're
win
right.
the Stanley Cup
You're right.
again?
You're right.
Please.
You're right.
Past Carolina. Yeah.
Such an
Please.
annoying show. And Carolina, you should be scared of Carolina. Admit you should be scared of Carolina. Admit it. Admit it. Admit it.
We swept them the year before.
No, they didn't sweep them. Rob Dinsmore said that was not a sweep.
Yeah, that was
that was. I mean, there were 2 overtime games, so yeah, sure.
No,
I
it
will
counted
say
for it.
though, Roy, it's similar styles with
Yes.
the Hurricanes. That scares me a little bit.
Yeah, but the Panthers are better at that style than they are. So
Okay, and he will be confident, and this show will be annoying. I'm sorry for that. I apologize in advance. I told everyone to pace themselves. We're here. We are officially a just buzzsaw of annoying as a show. The people who do not like hockey do not care about what we're doing. And when it becomes, I told you so, I had that more right. I was correct. I'm the good luck charm. And I was superstitious and sitting on the right seat in my couch. And my wife knows when it becomes that show,
Remember, John in his bed, putting
nobody
his
likes
kid to
that
bed.
show.
Thank you, John.
Nobody likes that show. But you know the show they do like? The most wrong take in the history of this show. Roy's just smiling at me again. He's not doing his job.
Apart a team that was amazing. Like from a fan standpoint, like I go to a lot of games and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10 because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
They
goals.
only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points if you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
What an asshole.
this episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So now that the local historians are making their way around this team that has been Roy's for a lifetime, David Dwork, who does the hockey show with Roy sometimes on Fridays, says 4 seasons ago the Panthers hadn't been out of the first round since 1996. Now they're headed to a 3rd straight conference final. Barry Jackson writes, whether they win another title or not, these 2022-2025 Panthers are the 2nd best pro team in our market this century, behind only the Big 3 era Heat. For a franchise to repeatedly make this many good personnel decisions is something to behold. I
just got goosebumps, legitimately.
I mean, those Canes, they were a pro team.
Yes, I'd say the Hurricanes as well of early 2001, best college football team I saw before Burrow's LSU team. I just genuinely don't know, as we welcome in our beloved Chris Whittingham, the fancy lad, how this person is capable of showing his face in public. With as wrong a take as there has ever been in the history of this market and in the history of sports, we have now on take. We want to play for Whittingham an assortment of bad takes that we have here, okay? He's responsible for 2 of them, Stugotz.
Wow.
Historically bad takes. So I'd just like to put in front of Whittingham first, Roy, his Giannis take. The Giannis take that he talked about Giannis as being only a number 2, and then Giannis immediately won the championship as a number 1 after almost breaking his leg. Let's hear the full take.
Giannis is probably the NBA's best number 2 because I think it's kind of been determined that he can't be your 1. And like in terms of his specific skill set and the areas of the game in which he struggles, you can't rely upon him to get baskets at the end.
So is that more wrong than your take immediately after the Panthers, desecrated by you? I don't think there's anyone in sports media looking more like a fool around this hockey team than you, Chris Whittingham. Welcome, by the way. It's nice to see you again.
Hey, guys. Glad to be back, as ever. Just play the take already. Enough.
They tore apart a team that was amazing. Like from a fan standpoint, like I go to a lot of games and I just enjoyed every night going to the arena thinking that the Panthers might score 10 because it was a legitimate possibility. They might score 10
They
goals.
only want the cup.
The coach came in is like, the style is going to change. We're going to play playoff hockey in the regular season. Listen, pal, if you're 6 points if you're 6 points out of the final playoff spot, you're not playing playoff hockey in the playoffs. I enjoyed the team. I liked the team. It's been bad for the Florida Panthers for 20 years. I can't fathom that after 2 years of unprecedented success for this franchise, I'd be like, you know what? After that unprecedented success, we're done with it.
The pal is so important. It is.
The thing is that I still kind of back myself on that.
Oh, come on, man.
I still back myself on. I don't enjoy this at all. Now I haven't watched a single Panthers game this year, but I don't enjoy the way that they play whatsoever. I don't know about you guys. Did you not find the style like mind numbing? The fact that no one can score a goal, no one can get a shot off in this series is appalling. I would also say, obviously, a lot of this centers around the Matthew Tkachuk trade. I don't know about you guys, but I've never felt more confident about my opinion on that trade.
Listen, pal.
I just watched Matthew Tkachuk score 0 goals in a 7-game series. I watched him have a plus-minus of 0, while the Florida Panthers had a plus-minus of 10. I feel like he's contributing nothing to the cause. I think they are overcoming this albatross of a long-term contract that they have in order to still win playoff games anyway. I feel more confident in my takes from 2 years ago than I did even then.
That's gross. I love you looking up that plus minus thing. Just like, oh, maybe I can find something here. And you came back with 0. It's not like he's negative. You're like, oh, I looked up all these stats
but
I could find.
relative to the team was plus 10. He was 0. He's contributing nothing.
He's hurt.
He somehow last night, they won by 6-1. His plus-minus was -1 last night.
Whittingham.
This guy don't know puck. He doesn't know puck.
No, this guy's a pro. He gets it. This is a hot take master.
Can we just...
You know what happened, Chris? Is I saw the Florida Panthers logo in the background behind Dan, and I was like, I need some armament. I need to look up a stat that's going to somehow back my opinion.
That's what you have to head into a war with, armament.
Yeah.
I don't like it's a mint from an armor.
Yes.
That's how Whittingham enters a fight, with a breath mint. That's how he begins.
Tic Tac. Those red and white ones that you get at a restaurant that are in a bowl, that you only see at the bowl at the front desk of a restaurant. You don't see anywhere else in public.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you ever see these striped peppermints anywhere other than at that cheap restaurant?
What about the brown and green version of those? Because those are even more rare than the normal peppermint. I love that extra flavor. You've never had that? The kind of mint chocolate chip version of it?
I've had it, but I haven't seen it. A restaurant has never been so bold as to go that route.
Oh, really?
Wheels
American Cafe in Weston.
Did COVID kill toothpicks? Because I don't find toothpicks at restaurants anymore.
I still find them.
Really?
Yeah, hibachi.
I was walking out of a restaurant twice this weekend where I'm just like, where's the toothpick? I used to love grabbing a toothpick on the way out.
I hear you.
Kind of a gross thing to give out to people at a restaurant. You're basically
it's
saying,
like dental
pick
floss.
food out of your teeth and public. We're allowing you to do this very gross thing in front of others. Take care of it at home with some floss.
You're supposed to do it when you leave. You're not supposed to do it at the table.
It should be a tiny
Not at the table, but you're walking, you're standing in the parking lot fishing food out of your teeth. That's not.
I just
not
chew
good.
the toothpick, right? Do you guys actually pick stuff out of your teeth? I'm just like,
No, it's just cool.
It's just a vibe.
Right.
Cinnamon toothpicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if they're minty, of course. But Whittingham's not wrong when he says, why don't you just give someone a little dental kit with a little toothbrush and say, why don't you clean yourself up on the way out?
A little deodorant on the way out?
Old dirty mouth. Why don't you clean that up, old dirty mouth?
Why don't we have one communal bottle of mouthwash? We all gargle, and you can fix up your breath while you're on your way out as well. A little spit bucket, maybe.
Again, a breath mint connoisseur here. One Chris Whittingham joins us. We haven't seen you in a while. How has it been? You've made some of the biggest and best goal calls, and you're on a surfboard at the top of your dreams. It makes me want to punch you in the face.
Yeah, honestly, I think I called over 2 legs maybe the greatest games that I will ever call. It's kind of wild to feel like I've already hit the peak of my career. We had the Champions League semifinal at CBS between Inter and Barcelona. It finished 7-6 over 2 legs, and every moment something was happening, and I felt like I was yelling for 2.5 hours straight. I have never been so committed to it. I woke up the next day sort of like with an adrenal fatigue, but honestly, it is kind of wild to be watching something unfold in front of you and go, I think this is as good as it ever gets. I think even if, I don't know, by some grace of God, I call a World Cup final or something, I don't think the game will ever be as good as that game was. And I don't know how much you guys are following soccer these days, but that Barcelona team is honestly as fun as any team that I have ever watched in my life. It is so ridiculously fun.
That's Stugotz going into the old wheelhouse and getting one of his Hall of Fame moves where he's just like, like he's been reading up on the magical arts of Barca.
That's what you've been doing with all your off time, Stugotz? Has been watching some Lamine Yamal highlights?
He's gone from soccer.
That would be a remarkable turn from you if all of a sudden you showed up like, guys, after 3 months, I got into soccer. It's great. I'm watching Serie A every weekend now. It's unbelievable.
Not what happened. Instead, he just went to Vegas and saw 1,000 Krzyzewskis.
Serie A, by the way. I mean, know your soccer.
I want to get to this game show that we're trying to get off the ground here, where Zaz asked Tony hockey questions. But first, I want to. So he's not backing down on either of those takes. But from the room, which take is worse? The Panthers take or the Giannis take? Can I get
it's
some?
It's the Giannis take.
It's Giannis just went out in the first round. The Panthers are making 3. Like I think the Panthers are. It was Giannis. Giannis is the gold standard. This Panthers take is just getting worse and worse by every round they advance.
The Panthers take is worse because you also have to consider he was at least portraying a Panther fan. Who bails on the team
he is the
when
one,
then they win the cup?
He became a Rangers fan.
He has to be the only Panther fan that jumped off the ship in the last 3 years.
He wasn't a Giannis fan.
Just pictured the Panther fan the last 3 years being like, I'm out on this.
Do you know how hard it is to be virtue signaling as Zaslow when you are saying that Paul Maurice is the murderer of fun and you fired him
twice,
and he can lecture Whittingham about how wrong he is?
I kicked him out of my city,
and not be wrong, because Whittingham, this part you are the most wrong on. You bailed on this team at the worst possible time after following them your entire life.
If you have courage of your conviction, you believe things even when things go against you. And I still maintain the courage of my conviction. It's as though you should still believe that Paul Maurice is the murderer of fun, because he is. He inarguably is. That style of hockey, I don't know how you guys watch it every night. I would be clawing my eyes out watching teams be unable to even shoot the puck, never mind score goals.
These words coming out of your mouth.
You call soccer for a living.
These words coming out of your mouth right now are a vomit.
There were 75 shots in that game. It was just one team taking
in the first
them all.
2 periods.
You can't say last night's game didn't have enough shots for you.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I must say my opinion is not very informed in this respect. I get like a score update. Can I tell you guys in a moment of actual revelation of how this team makes me feel? I check the score like once an hour, mostly for live betting opportunities. I'm kind of hoping that when I log on to my app that I see the Florida Panthers down. This year, I've decided I'm making money on my misery. So every time I see the Florida Panthers down, I race to live bet them because they seem to come back from deficits very often.
See, you're not watching, because that was the narrative like 3 seasons ago, the comebacks thing. I don't even think they really did that this year.
In the first round, I made a lot of money in that Tampa series, live betting them when they were down a goal or down 2 goals. So it didn't really work in this Toronto series. They seem to have a lead more often. But I check it like once an hour, and honestly, I had a moment last night before I went to bed when I saw that it was 5-1 to the Panthers at that point. Obviously, they went on to win 6-1. That I was like, I just want this to be over. I don't, because Cody had texted me at 0-0, like, hey, can you come on the show tomorrow? And I was like, I would rather I come on if Toronto wins, but I don't want to do this. Logging on to the Zoom this morning was a suffering. I want this to be over. Carolina, please, I'm wearing a Hurricane shirt because I'm so desperate for Carolina to get this done. Please.
He's the worst Panther fan. He is the worst
the
national and international Panther fan there's ever been.
No. He's not a Panther fan.
Not a Panther fan.
He's a Rangers fan. And not only is he a Rangers fan,
I'll be back.
He's a Knicks
fan.
guys.
Yeah. Once we all get over this collective struggle that we're going through as Panthers fans, when we all realize, we all wake up one morning and go, what were we doing with this Matthew Tkachuk thing and with this Paul Maurice thing? Let's like go back to playing real hockey again. I'll be back. But until then, I'm out.
You're not welcome. Not only did you become a Rangers fan, the Panthers beat the Rangers in the conference final last season.
Tell them.
It's bad for you, Chris. You're not welcome.
And blew up your blueprint, too.
They took something from them, too.
Yes, something was taken from you, and you sound hurt. I should say that Chris Whittingham should be doing this interview from a bathtub, but he's a coward and also someone who does not pay his debts. He is somebody. So
listen, I did a show. I did one of these guest appearances last year from my shower. I don't know how I have not paid this obligation to you.
It's a bathtub. Also, the Leafs.
I don't have a bathtub.
Okay, well, we need to. It's not a punishment, grid of death. You decide how you're going to do it. It's a bathtub.
Right,
like
go
you
find
have
one.
to
Go to the local Home Depot and like call you from the Zoom and from one of their bathtubs on display.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing is enough for you guys.
You owe what? Just pay your debt.
All right.
Look,
I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna go to the office today and be like, "Hey, is any of you guys have an apartment with a bathtub? I need to do a guest hit on the Le Batard Show."
Well, that's what you do.
Oh, you have nothing to do with your own success. We rocketed you to fame, and so you owe us this debt of gratitude by doing a show from a bathtub. It was supposed to be not one segment enclosed with no water. Like you said, like you did it the worst way. Like you did it the way you're accusing the Panthers of playing playoff hockey. Give the people entertainment.
All right. I'll be shirtless next time. I'll be in a bathtub.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
The Leafs held the trio of Barkov, Reinhart, and Tkachuk to just 4 goals in the series and still lost historically. Historically is what I meant to say.
Unfathomably. And that is actually kind of the thing that's most annoying about the Florida Panthers.
How deep they are?
I check the box score and I go, who are these people? Who are these people that are scoring goals? I legitimately learned of a name last night. Something with an F and a J in it. No, sorry. Gadjovic? Who is that person?
Jonah Gadjovic.
Who is that?
No
Where
idea.
did he come
He's
from?
a wrinkle that Maurice threw in.
Does he play?
He's a fourth liner who Maurice brought in game 3.
I'll tell you who he is.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
I'll tell you who Gadjovic is. He's the guy who had twice as many goals this series as Austin Matthews.
Yep. Winner.
This is annoying.
I don't understand it. I legitimately I don't understand. Also, how are you guys feeling about the Brad Marchand experience?
All right, so hold on a second. Mike Ryan won't come into work today because of his shame. I want to get, by the way, at some point today to the basketball because the NBA is officially back. And
back in a big way, Dano.
And we're enjoying hockey a little bit excessively this morning because the champs felt good last night. But is this take about the Detroit Lions by me worse than either one of Whittingham's takes? I will tell you that the team that I am talking about, the Detroit Lions, went 0-16 to become the first winless team, I believe, in the history of the NFL.
The Lions are going to be very good this year. The Detroit Lions are going to be very good this year. I own that comment.
Cheers.
Calvin Johnson is going to be really good this year. You know what you've seen so far from Ted Ginn? You've seen all of a sudden, you've seen Ted Ginn's second year. You're like, oh, well, look at that. Look, he's figured some things out. He looks a lot better than he looked last year. Calvin Johnson is a lot better than Ted Ginn.
Sure is.
He's a lot better than Ted Ginn, and he's a lot better this year, and he was a lot better last year, and he will be a lot better every year that they're healthy in the league at the same time.
Could be the best.
And I like Ted Ginn.
Could be the best tandem in the league, Dan. Sir, if Johnson's going
Roy
to be
Williams
that good,
is amazing.
he's a freak.
Roy Williams is amazing.
Yeah, he's really
and I
good.
just think the Lions are going to be really good this year.
In your
I
defense,
own that
Calvin
comment
Johnson
is the best part.
Yeah, but in defense,
He had
of
a
Dan,
good year, Stu.
Calvin Johnson was good.
1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. It was good.
I think we're overlooking the Roy Williams is amazing part.
I will tell you that earlier in
He was amazing at Texas, to be fair.
Yeah.
I thought that the Panther take was worse than the Giannis take, and I realized after examining it, it's because of the sort of film that I felt hearing David Sampson's aluminum voice in the middle of that just being extra annoying, and it tipped it over the edge for me. It made that take worse than the other one just because Sampson's voice was in it. That one's worse than both of those, isn't it?
Well, Roy Williams only played 5 games that year for Detroit before being shipped to Dallas. He had 17 catches for 230 yards. Not great.
Was he amazing in Dallas?
He had
19
catches in 10 games, less than 200 yards, so not great.
So is that Whittingham? Is my take?
The thing, though, Dan, in your defense, is that the lion's share of that take, no pun intended, is correct in that Calvin Johnson was incredible.
Yes.
The whole take was
Correct.
predicated upon Calvin Johnson being good, inexplicably compared to Ted Ginn in that context.
Yeah, but then
he certainly is much better than Ted Ginn.
Orlovsky,
Yeah, you nailed that, Dan.
Orlovsky ran out of the end zone in that season.
That was the problem.
I don't think that's your worst take of all time. You said at one point you'd rather face Roy Hibbert than Tim Duncan.
That is a good one.
Holy what?
That's an all-timer. That Stugotz might have just ended the game. That is a thing that happened around here, and we don't have the sound of that. I had it scrubbed from the records.
In 2012, though, that was correct.
No.
Everyone was terrified of Roy Hibbert.
No, that was never correct.
No, it was. No, it was absolutely correct.
No, that was never correct. No one in the history of radio, other than Dan, sat here and sat down behind a microphone and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm scared of Roy Hibbert.
You don't remember what Roy Hibbert did to us then.
I
You
was
don't
huge.
remember.
I remember what Tim Duncan did to
You know
everybody.
about that verticality?
Yes, exactly. Leapings, denying everyone at the rim.
Tim Duncan.
I mean, for God's sake, the Heat started Dexter Pittman in a playoff game to try and combat Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
That's how desperate we were to solve the problem, only to realize that the problem has been solved for then and thereon because all we needed to do was go small. Small was the answer the whole time. And it was sitting in front of us.
Witty.
LeBron James at center was sitting in front of us the whole time, and somehow we didn't see it.
Witty, the funny thing about that take, historically wrong though it is, because my Lions take was wrong because Kitna got hurt at the beginning of that season.
But you were right on Megatron.
Thank you. But this one is worse. But what Whittingham says, I will tell you what was the basis of that take. Because not only was it wrong, Stephen A. came on and I was saying to him, who in the world would you take over Hibbert against LeBron and the Heat? And he's like, Tim Duncan. And I laughed at him because at the point that we were living, that those tree limbs of Roy Hibbert were making, I'll tell you why it is that this happened to me. I was watching LeBron in the gym practicing sky hooks because he couldn't do anything against, like he was trying. And I'm like, wait a minute.
it was the floater.
No,
he was
it was
practicing.
floater as well, but it was also sky hooks because Hibbert was doing this thing where he's a giant oak tree and he's just running straight at you, and they hadn't figured out yet you got to get Gobert off the court.
You know about that verticality?
Dante Culpepper started 5 games for that Lions team.
I just saw that too. I am shocked by that.
How could they not win once? God.
More interceptions and touchdowns for Dante. I mean, you would think that the formula of Dante Culpepper throwing deep to Calvin Johnson was unassailable in 2008.
Oh, in
and
Madden,
somehow
it was
work.
unstoppable, Witty. You could play as that 0-16 Lions and beat anybody because you just have
For sure.
Culpepper throwing bombs to Megatron. It was incredible.
Let me put up against the Hall of Famer. You guys decide who wins worst of the takes.
Go ahead, Andy Reid. I dare you to go 14-2 and allow Alex Smith to leave Arrowhead Stadium to leave Kansas City. Go ahead, I dare you. Because of Patrick Mahomes. Because you think you could turn Patrick Mahomes into something that Alex Smith is not. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. The audacity, first off, to do this to Alex Smith, who's been very good and loyal to Andy Reid and won him a lot of football games, to dangle Patrick Mahomes out there because Andy Reid thinks he's some sort of quarterback whisperer, which he is not, by the way. He is not, because if he was, Alex Smith would be better than he's been the last few years. So I dare.
That's a record for contradiction.
It's on Andy Reid.
That is
the only reason Alex Smith is not better is Andy Reid.
That's a world record for Stugotz not paying attention to any of the things he said the sentence before.
I think we have a new leader in the clubhouse.
You fire Paul Maurice.
It's between that take and Witty with the Panthers. Those are the two fighting it out for the championship.
Do I have an OLI here when I remember what Stugotz's famous take was about Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley failing Dwayne Wade, and then months later LeBron and Bosch are here. And Stugotz, I believe, was.
But at the time, he was failing Dwayne Wade.
At the time, Hibbert wasn't a scarecrow.
And also another one that I think stands the test of time for Stugotz, because I think that Dwayne Wade and his place in NBA history is underrated because of the period between 2006 and 2010 when the Heat didn't do anything. Those are Dwayne Wade's best years, and I actually don't think he gets nearly enough credit for how good he was as of the better of the players between LeBron and Dwayne Wade in 2011. He had a 5-year period where, honestly, Dwayne Wade should be considered at a much higher standing than I think he is now. I think it's because he wasn't winning at the best points of his career. I give Stugotz a fair amount of credit there.
I don't understand your condescending smugness when you're so very wrong in such a spectacular way while hiding beneath your courageous convictions.
Because I believe I actually am criticized for not liking Dwayne Wade enough. I think that in that period, and obviously his knees sort of failed him from there, but 2006 to 2011, after they win the championship, Dwayne Wade should have been like right up there with Kobe. He should have been right up there with LeBron, and he wasn't. And I think that is largely the responsibility of the Miami Heat organization for not putting more around him, and then they did. And then they did, and then his body failed him.
Roy, I'm throwing a lot at you right now because I asked you for that Wade sound, but in the interim,
That Command F is working. That Command F is working right now.
Okay.
He's searching Wade. He's searching Dwayne.
All right.
He's searching failed the city.
All right.
There is a lot of searching going on that computer.
He's right. They're doing all that right now.
Yes.
They are.
He's familiar with the Command F.
But Roy, okay, you have found the sound, and it can be played, though, because now we have the added problem of music being something that if it's playing is problematic. But you found sound that we can play. All right, let's hear. This, again, is, I believe, minutes before Chris Bosh and LeBron and Wade were coming up on stage. It might have been the day of, the morning of, before they came up on stage to a fireworks show. Here is Stugotz ripping Dwayne Wade, Pat Riley, everybody.
Has Pat Riley failed Dwayne Wade? Seriously. Has Riley and the organization, because Dan, all these other teams, all the other contenders went out and made moves, and the Heat haven't done a single thing. What have they done for Dwayne Wade? They got him Jermaine O'Neal, a broken Jermaine O'Neal. He's going to leave here, and he should leave here.
They got him Shaq.
Yeah.
And a championship.
Since then. Let's sell him on this notion of all these guys we're going to get next year. None of these guys want to come here. None of them. He's failed, Dwayne Wade. Failed the fans. Failed the city. That's a good take.
None of them wanted to come here. Then they all came here discounted.
Everyone, all of
they all
them.
came discounted. That afternoon, they came discounted. So which is the worst of the takes? Is it still Mahomes?
Mahomes is pretty bad. Best quarterback ever.
The greatest quarterback of all time.
And he's
Alex
halfway
Smith.
through his career.
You dared Andy Reid to get rid of Alex Smith.
Is there a better trade in sports though the last 5 years than the Panthers Kachuk trade? Like ripping that one.
He has 0 goals in this series.
Witty, you're not watching. They've
made
he's still
like 10
affecting
better
the game.
trades since.
He's still affecting the game.
Maybe Trevor Rogers for Kyle Stowers and Connor
All right,
Brady.
with his 0
box
plus
score
minus.
watch. Whole thing. You can't box score watch hockey, Witty.
All right, the whole thing has gotten away from me.
0 goals.
Hold up. This is insulting. This is insulting. The fancy lad comes back with his parasol, and he's been broadcasting the big games, and he thinks he could fake his way through a broadcast by just looking at a box score and doing plus minus. And I got enough knowledge here, even though I'm a Ranger fan who hasn't watched much hockey this year, and I'm a take master.
He just said, "How's the Marchand thing working out?" He's like arguably the second or third best player in the entire playoffs for us so far.
And Paul Maurice said he's a wonderful human being.
He is.
How's the Marchand thing working out is literally the worst thing you could say.
That's just him getting text from Mike Ryan, right? That's all that is.
I'm more sort of asking, or like, do you like him? Have you turned, and are you supporting him?
Only
as a fan?
Mike Ryan is struggling with that. If I have a rule
Mike
in life,
Ryan has a lot of valid points.
I have a rule. I have a rule in
Mike
life.
Ryan has a lot of valid points.
I have a rule in
You all
life.
should listen to him.
When it comes to the Panthers, I have a rule in life. If Barkov's cool with it, I'm cool with it.
So Jeremy's taunting me, saying you said Tom Brady was washed at 35 and he had another Hall of Fame career.
That's another good
That's
one.
another really good one.
But
That's a great one.
I didn't say he was washed. I said his deep ball. I'm not going to do this again.
You said he was done. I mean,
I did not say he was washed. I'm not going to do it again.
Okay.
But I did say that I draft Odin over Durant.
You did say that, yes. Durant was too skinny.
That's
not
because of
strong
Roy
enough.
Hibbert, right?
He was
It's all
only,
the same
he was
thing.
only
That was
he
printed
couldn't
in the
bench
Miami Herald,
185.
right?
He couldn't bench 185.
You know about that verticality?
Let me get the sound as a palate cleanser here before we get to the game show of just even Whittingham, okay, who knows how to be an ass and embraces his inner. Even Whittingham winced at hearing himself say this with smugness.
Listen, pal.
To Paul Maurice.
Listen, pal.
Dan, it's a key. It's a key term to make you sound like an expert. I mean,
He was so smug at the beginning of that season. I will never forget.
He was smug with
No, he was so
Really?
smug. When they start, I remember that first broadcast back in the old Fox Sports Florida days, I think, where they come on the air and they're like, hey, guys, here's what's going to change this year. We're going to play playoff-style hockey all season long. And God almighty, what was the name of that third-string goalkeeper that, like, made ridiculous saves at the end of that first season?
Spencer Knight?
No. Alex Lyon? Was it Alex Lyon?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, everyone was bagging on Sergei Bobrovsky. As a matter of fact, speaking of bad takes, we did a month after the Panthers got eliminated from the playoffs on Spencer Knight is better than Sergei Bobrovsky.
We
did a month on that.
We did it during the playoffs.
No, hold on.
Yes.
We did a month on
Hold
that.
on.
We did.
And somehow I have the wrong take on the Panthers.
Witty, this is the,
Somehow you have the wrong take. The Stanley Cup champions.
Zaslow, you've been quiet long enough. Let him have it. Like you're.
He fired
I
the
mean,
coach.
come on. Somehow he got it.
No one here is qualified.
No, but this is Zaslow. Whittingham is.
Murder a phone over there.
Okay, but I can admit that I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong, and I'm thrilled that I was dead wrong. You're sitting there saying how the Panthers got it wrong, and they're the champions.
And you don't like Whittingham's general smugness about how this whole radio thing is beneath
I
him.
could do without the smugness.
Listen, pal.
0-0.
Listen, pal.
How many listen pals has Zaslow done in his career? He's the king of listen pal.
Listen, pal.
Oh boy, I love it.
Listen, pal.
There's
Listen,
no one
pal.
qualified.
You really should be ashamed to show your face in public, Whittingham. Honestly, you come out here, you're just giving takes, and you're admitting to being unmasked as box score Charlie.
I mean, you're sitting next to someone who's made a career of it, so.
Anyone here, Tony tried to get in there with a Spencer Knight?
Thank you, Chris, for mentioning that.
Zaslow.
Chris, because poor Tony, I felt for him because I've been trying to get to this game show for 35 minutes and we can't shut Whittingham up, and he can't be wrong even though he's wrong.
I want to participate in the game show. What's the game show?
Okay, this is the fun we used to have before you got here and ruined it by doing all the things that you do that range from going from Panthers fan to Rangers fan to I'm not wrong for doing that to they're the champions. Like, it's asinine. Like,
Let's go Canes.
Okay, you can be as stubborn as you want, but Tony in the middle of that, who has had to endure this 3 straight summers, was so excited when you asked who was that third string goalie to yell Knight into the air.
Ooh, I know a goalie name.
He couldn't have gotten the first name, but he got in a very small window with the knowledge of there's a Knight to be thrown into the
But
mix
it's also
here.
it's also the Star Spangled Banner, right? Where they yelled Knight. That was the joke from last week. It was like Knight.
It was the wrong Knight, though.
Oh. He was there somewhere, right?
So, are you ready to play this game? Who's going to lead it? Zaslow, do we finally have the game show music? Thank you, from the maniacally grinning Roy Bellamy.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
First edition, but okay, let's go.
Another edition. Yes, I'm Jonathan Zaslow. I'm your host. Everybody knows I am a game show host. And the way today's game works is we test Tony's knowledge of puck. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
First up, anyone want to take the over-under of 1.5 correct answers out of 5 for Tony? Any action?
Under.
Under.
I believe in my friend. He's
Wow.
getting the over.
Thank you.
Going over
Okay.
2. I'm going over.
Even money on both sides. Over, under 1.5 correct answers. First up, Tony, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Give us the definition for icing.
Definitions, huh? I mean,
No, but that's
Icing. Okay, so they take the puck, right? And they shoot it to the other side, but there's nobody on the other side. And it crosses the blue line, and then the goalie has to go and get it, right? And then they're like, hey, there's nobody over there. You can't do that.
You know what? Wait a minute. I think that question was too generic. I think.
No, but what makes it icing, though?
That there's nobody over there. You can't just do that.
That's
You can't
not
just-
what makes it icing.
There were
Honestly,
a lot of
that's a good point.
answers
I
wrong
think
there.
He's got that one. That's
Nope,
the correct
he had the
answer for me.
colors
I
of the
feel the same
lines
way.
incorrect, and he said that the goalie went and got the puck. That is incorrect, Tony.
We can't get him a half correct?
Incorrect,
He's also
Tony.
the judge. You got to shut up. He's a game show host.
So
and
what?
the
So what
judge.
makes it icing? Honestly, I don't know.
The puck has to be shot from the other side of the center line.
Okay.
It crosses the goal line.
Okay.
And then the other team touches up before you do. Icing.
Has to pass 3 lines.
Oh,
essentially.
gotcha. Okay. So pass the blue line at some point.
That's one of the lines that goes by.
it's an unfair question.
Let's not ask for definitions anymore.
Thank you.
Next up, Tony,
February.
are you ready?
They don't call me Tony Puck for nothing, baby. Let's go. They don't.
What
It should be
is
Puck Tony.
what
Been a lot of
is
those.
a line change?
Oh, this is when guys jump off the bench and then other guys switch, right? So they switch the lines. They go from one guy to another guy. Yeah, you're out of here. But then if you got too many guys, you got a penalty for that.
That is correct, Tony.
Honestly, extra credit as well for getting the
Nice.
You knew the penalty, too?
We have now entered the portion of Tony Knows Hockey where audience members can ask Tony a question.
Tony.
Do we have any volunteers?
I have one. What is the area that the goalie stands in called? The blue area that the goalie stands in.
The blue area that the goalie stands in.
This is a good one.
You
do know this.
It's the net.
When you, no.
Oh no.
No.
That would be
stands in the nets.
The crease.
You knew that. You knew that.
The crease, of course. Between the pipes.
Imagine some
Would that
guy
have been
in
acceptable
Toronto
too, between the pipes or no?
That's what's beating you, Toronto. Toronto, Dade County
There's
is
a guy in
Dade County is full of that. They're going to wander over about game 2 of the final round, and then they'll be in the streets with pots and pans. That's what's
Toronto ever heard of La Carreta?
in the world?
Losers! They care about this more than anything in the world. Last night, Brad Marchand was making the argument that Toronto cares about it too much.
Nobody
to
understands.
Win. Too much to win.
Nobody understands how insulting it is that in the swamp kicked your ass 6-1 last night.
He stands in the nets.
That's it.
He does.
Again, just to recap the last answer, Tony believes the goalie, the painted area in front of the goalie is the net.
That kind of thing.
Tony, when both teams are even strength, how many players does each team have on the ice?
Even strength
Yes.
means no penalties. Nobody's in the penalty box.
Well, that is what even strength means.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
not one of the questions.
So you've got the goalie,
That's one.
okay, on both sides, obviously.
Well, I'm just doing one team.
Just
Okay,
one
one
team.
We're not asking you to
Yeah.
name
The
the
goalie-
positions.
Okay,
No,
the
I can't.
goalie, that's one player.
And 5 on the ice. So 6 total.
That's correct.
Wow.
He hit the over. He hit the over. Wow.
If you're just tuning in now, everybody welcome. This is another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
It's not another one.
First
It's
one we've
just the
done.
first
It's
one.
another edition.
We'll do it next week.
I don't know if there'll be a second one.
There's for sure more terms that I don't know, so there's always there.
Certainly we can cover hockey better
went-
than this. It's a championship team.
The next question.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I apologize, Stugotz. That was rude of the game show host.
That's okay, go ahead.
You're referring to yourself as game show host third person?
Everybody knows I am a game show host. My name is Jonathan Saslow, and this is another edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
Tony, are you ready for your next question?
Yes.
What is a chirp? Let me repeat. What is a chirp?
Chirp is when you're skating by a guy you don't like. You give him a little chicken wing on the side.
I like that.
That's
Technically,
no, no, that's fakery. It's not
A chirp is talking shit to a
chirp
guy.
is verbal. A chirp is verbal.
It's verbal. It's not
talking
a
shit to
chicken
guy.
wing.
Hit him with a chicken wing and say, yeah, you suck.
We have a judge. I mean,
We do have a judge and game show host.
yes.
I am also a judge in addition to a game show host, and therefore my ruling.
And a doctor. He's also a doctor.
I am not a doctor. Also, my ruling is that is incorrect.
The chicken wing. You had it. So you said
Whittingham.
With prejudice.
There it is.
Oh, no.
Thank you. An excellent, another edition. Another excellent
This
edition.
has been another
Yes.
edition of Tony Knows Hockey.
All right. We're going to do basketball next because I can't alienate the audience anymore.
Why couldn't I have been on for that segment?
What would you have to say about basketball?
I'm a Knicks guy now.
Yeah.
Oh, turn him off.
Get him
I'm
out of here.
I'm a short Amtrak away from Madison Square Garden, and I got to tell you, I watched one video of Jon Stewart celebrating with various celebrities. For me, it's the fact that the celebrities care. The Lakers fans are there to be seen. I feel like the Knicks fans are actual fans that have been there through thick and thin, through suffering, through absolutely no success, and I actually believe their sincerity when they sit courtside. I have to be honest. I enjoyed watching that. That was a fun scene.
All right,
over the weekend,
Whittingham,
watching the Knicks
all right,
win that
stay
game.
there so you could go full heel. Like, you're embarrassing.
I love it.
You are. You're like, you used to be a South Floridian. I don't know what you are now other than un arrepentido. Like, that's it.
Wow.
I've proclaimed it. Tremendo arrepentido. Sin vergüenza.
Wow.
This episode is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
I will try to do a better job of pacing myself during these hockey playoffs. You think we'd be better at it after a couple of years of practice. We are not. It was a lot of hockey, too much hockey. I understand your rage. Roy is still beaming. Zaslow has been smiling since 1-0 last night.
Yeah.
Since 1-0 last night, you can't get the smile off his face. And Tony's so involved, he gets excited to name a backup goalie from a couple of years ago.
Nice.
It has taken over South Florida. But the basketball, and I don't know if you guys had it going this particular way, because basketball can be pretty predictable this time of year, but now it's all of a sudden not, because 6-4 or 6-5, like that's not usually how all of that happens. Last year, Dallas is there when OKC was better all year. But you have the storyline that is the following, Stugotz, and I can't believe I'm saying any of this. You're either going to have a champion who's winning the championship for the first time as the league evolves past Steph and LeBron, or it'll be the Knicks. And those are good choices if you're trying to resell the league as like, oh, Tatum is out, but Anthony Edwards, would you like to be the guy? And also, how are we going to make it interesting if defense is what wins the championship? Because OKC, watching what they just did to the MVP was like watching a pack of dogs chase down an elephant. Like just how young people will ravenously eat even the MVP. One shot in the second half, want to go be with horse?
That's a terrible job by Jokic, is
No,
it not?
I mean, come
you
on.
can't get
Stugotz,
9 shots
Stugotz,
off in a
he's
Game
Stugotz.
7 best offensive
Stugotz,
player ever.
Stugotz.
Get out of here.
Okay, he's tired. And 4 years of this.
So was Jordan. He had the
Okay,
flu.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. It took a couple of years off as well. Took a couple of years off.
He had the flu.
Yeah, but he won a bunch of them and then came back with the flu. Yes, but again,
play baseball.
Jokic, wonderful. This is how, man. I don't think people totally understand how competitive these human beings are. Like, you're fighting the world for money. No one saw Jokic coming. Stugotz says he's a bum, get more than 9 shots. Or he just got eaten up by youth because that team plays defense better than anyone in the sport and also can score. And you just saw him get tired. Like, he was done. In the second half, he was done because Durant quit Golden State. LeBron went to Cleveland. Like, after 4 years, it's hard. Hell, the Celtics have been at this for 4 years, and Tatum just blew a wheel. Like, it's hard to keep this pace for 4 years because of how competitive the people are. But now you've got New York, and this is the part that's the great storyline. Are you kidding me? Lovable underdog, and it's going to be the Pacers who are hated? Because they're going to get in the way of the story? Because you can't dispute, you can't say that the Knicks aren't a lovable story, and this, Stugotz, is the best feeling you've had in 25 years, and now bandwagon Witty is joining because he's not even a Floridian anymore.
Let's be clear. The NBA needs the Knicks in the NBA Finals. A Pacer-Thunder final would be an absolute disaster for the NBA. So good luck to the Pacers with that. Here is my thoughts on the Knicks. It's amazing because, you know, they had a good team last year. New York fell in love with that team. Dante DiVincenzo, guys like Hartenstein, and now he's in Oklahoma City. And DiVincenzo, I have no idea where that guy is.
Where do you think he is, Stu? Where do you think he is?
Milwaukee, maybe?
No.
I mean,
they would love him in Milwaukee.
Where is he? I have no idea.
You know where he is. Come on,
he's on the other side of
Think
the
about
bracket.
the guy you traded
He's
for.
still playing.
So here is, like, what an
He's with Julius Randle, by the
amazing
way.
job for Leon Rose to say, you know what? I know New York fell in love with this team, but this team is not good enough. We are not good enough. And he goes out and makes a couple of big-time trades, makes a big-time signing, gets rid of the guys that New York fell in love with, and he was right. And they are better. And now they're taking on the Pacers. And I am telling, this is a message to Reggie Miller. Stay out of the series.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You might not know where the foreigner is playing, DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's
from Ohio,
he's from Delaware or somewhere, but I called him the foreigner because I thought he was Italian.
Right.
You may not know where he is playing right now, but if you're going to call out Reggie, if you're going to call out Reggie Miller, look at a camera and do it from the old sparks of. Look, last week, can you get me the sound? Stugotz wasn't here, but we've created a couple of new call letters here to celebrate New York. He celebrated this with us last year when we did this. When we did WFAT. And now Boston is gone. We haven't enjoyed that nearly enough today. Boston is gone, but last week we created these call letters.
WDEI.
Like that.
Tony, your speed is still off on that.
I have to wait for the actual thing to happen.
Let's try it
I can't do it
again.
too
Let's
early.
do WDEI again to celebrate Boston radio real quick.
WDEI.
But if you're going to talk to Reggie Miller, look at that camera and give
Was
him
that from Batman and Robin?
It sounds like it, right? It sounds it's public domain. Yes, that is that's what it's. It's not the highest end of entertainment.
WDEI.
Our focus was on the accent. Maybe we could have focused more on imaging.
I'm pretty entertained.
Well, that's the standard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think whoever made that sounder is probably really smart and handsome.
Okay. All right. Just hold on a second. Just.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
Whittingham, the Knicks are lovable. They are.
Four guys on the ice now.
It hurts. It hurts me. It hurts me to say it, but I have.
You like them, huh?
I mean, it's hard not to, right? Like, I mean, they've got the smallest player on the court, and man, it.
But he's got the biggest balls.
Thank you.
I don't know. Halliburton's got some big balls too.
Okay, a ball off.
Huge balls off.
Okay, we're gonna do a huge balls off. Jalen Brunson's the smallest player on the court, and New York gets to feel like an underdog. And it's all crazy. It's all upside down. New York never gets to feel like an underdog. And as I was saying last week, nothing matters in that city like this sport. Like when you say MSG and playing in the heart of the city, not even the Rangers do what the Knicks do.
Everyone says that, and I still have a hard time. Like it's
No.
bigger than the Yankees.
No, Zaz.
Bigger than the Yankees.
Zaz, it is this simple. In New York, with every other sport, you have a choice. With baseball, Yankees, Mets. With hockey, Islanders, Rangers. With football, you have the Jets and the Giants. We have one basketball team.
What?
That's it. It's the
Well,
only.
They have the Nets. They have the Nets.
That team played in New Jersey, and no one cares about the Brooklyn Nets. Nobody. Witty lives in New York. He's a Knicks fan. He'll tell you. Nobody cares about the Nets. Nobody.
No,
so this is
you're
the one
100%
team we
right.
all get behind. That's it.
And there is that level of caring and that level of like, we've suffered for this. We have gone through 25 years of having awful, awful basketball teams, awful executives, awful players. And I was on a flight during Game 6. Every single person, to a man, had on the JetBlue screens the Knicks game on. And there was applause when big threes were made.
Yep.
There was an applause when the clocks hit 000. This is
That
a
happens
fan
on all
base.
flights. I've been on flights coming back to Florida. Where
I
there's
guarantee
heat
you.
games
I guarantee
on.
you. If there was a JetBlue flight from wherever to Fort Lauderdale last night, there were not people that were watching the
That's
Panthers game
insane,
and applauding
dude.
when
I've
goals
been
went
on
in.
flights watching
No,
Panthers games
I'm
with
not
other
having
people.
that. I'm not having that. The
You're
Knicks
not
have
having
a
that.
level.
You're pining about your New York Knicks. What do you mean you're not having that? This is a vomit, the words coming out of your mouth. We, my, New York Knicks, us. Get out of here, New York Knicks. What are you talking about?
I was on the flight. I was
You
there
were.
with the fans. I was there in New York City on a day after the Knicks won a big playoff game, and you feel it's something completely different. It's all anyone talks about in my work office, on the trains. The New York Knicks are completely dominating this city, and there's a real feeling they can go on and win this thing,
isn't it?
And I think like that is the biggest feeling change.
They cannot beat OKC. Are you out of your mind?
What do
Are you out
mean?
of your mind?
Can OKC
But,
beat
I mean,
Minnesota? I mean,
Okay, but Dan, would you have
Thank
said
you.
before the series? I mean, the Knicks were plus 500 underdogs going into the series against Boston and pretty soundly dominated them before Tatum got injured. They were about to go 3-1 up
They didn't
before
dominate.
Tatum
They
got
were
injured.
down for like 90% of the minutes. That's not dominating at all.
down
At
20,
all.
down 20 in game 1 and
Opposite of
2.
dominating.
They were 3-1. They were about to go 3-1 up.
Boston was up 20 points in 2 of the games.
But they lost the game.
That's not
But they lost
dominating.
That's not dominating.
Well, the second
Okay,
half
but
they
you're
dominated.
up 3-1 in this series. You're feeling good.
Scoreboard Witty. He's changed.
Witty,
I mean, he's right.
all right, Witty, get out of here.
Boston's gone. New York's still playing.
Is anybody else worried for New York? The fact that there are 2 bigger celebrations that they could have than what they did when they won that last series.
I mean, not 2, 8.
The fleet.
They still have, in theory, 8 more games to win.
The fact that the streets were flooded like that. The one guy sitting up on that screen, is that guy okay? Did you see that guy?
All right, I need Witty to get out of here now. Okay, he is
Get out of here, Witty.
He has been insufferable. Zaslow, you didn't go after him strongly enough. He's offensive. Yes, Zaslow is disgusted. Zaslow, you came up with Whittingham. You're a South Floridian at your core. Look at Whittingham. Look at smug.
I don't even want to look at him. It's a vomit.
Yeah, I mean he's offensive.
How could you not feel good for these guys, man? They don't care.
Like, how do I not feel good about them? Because they're the team that tormented me throughout my teenage years. Why do I have to feel good about the New York Knicks?
That is the difference between Zaslow and I. He's that tiny bit older than me where I actually kind of, as a Heat fan, felt a bit of pity for them because I never experienced, I was 7 when the Allen Houston shot went in. So I actually, for the most part, I have no antipathy towards the Knicks because they've never done anything to me.
I was 18 and it was one of the worst nights of my life. And I'm supposed to sit here and hear you talk about we, us, what we're going to do when you grew up here and you were a Heat fan.
Get out of here.
You make me sick.
You have no sense of history. None. You have no sense of history. You have no sense of grace. You have no sense of decorum or decency. You're a foul fraud.
That's a bit strong.
Witty, thank you.
I gave an hour and 5 minutes to this program this morning.
Thank you for being on with us, Witty. Good talking. Good talking to you. Nice seeing you. Reggie Miller, Stugotz, here's your chance, all right?
Stay out of the series.
Hold on a second. I'm going to set you up. Hold on a second, all right?
I was going.
I know. Hold on. I want to set the platform for you. The Knicks before Jalen Brunson, 8 playoff wins in 20 years. The Knicks with Jalen Brunson, 21 playoff wins in 3 years. What is happening now is escalating your parents and grandparents to remember when the Pacers and the Knicks played once upon a time, and it was tremendous. Larry Johnson's shot still echoes across 25 years of failure because there hasn't been shit since then. And so Larry Johnson made a 4-point play one time against Indiana, and Reggie Miller got all his fame off the Knicks, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Reggie Miller said after calling last year's Knicks-Pacers series. The longtime Pacer will call every game of this year's series for TNT.
Oh, that's a terrible job. Seriously. That is a
He's
bad job by
on the
TNT.
number one team.
I don't care.
Why?
Take him off of it.
I mean, Stu, to be honest, though, he's been very pro-Knicks. It's almost like a little crush on the Knicks as he's been calling these games. So there may be a little bit of
Quote, this is why I can't stand the Knicks. They're front runners. They think they're God's gift to basketball. End quote. That's Reggie Miller, who will be broadcasting the games.
Yep. Stay out of my series. I mean, I'm serious. You had your moment. You had your 9 seconds. You had your Hall of Fame moment. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, because of those moments, those final seconds against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. You were a decent player. You were not a great player. You're not a Hall of Fame player. You were in the series when you were playing. But as a broadcaster, do me a favor. Do not insert yourself into this series like you're some sort of factor into this. You're not. Call the game. Do it objectively. I don't want to hear about Reggie Miller and what he did when he was playing for the Pacers back in the 90s. I don't want to see the 3 threes shown by TNT every 15 seconds.
You will see
I
them.
need Reggie Miller and Rick Smits, for that matter, to stay away from this Knicks-Pacers series, okay? It is not about Reggie. It's not about the 90s. It's not about those teams. It is about this Knicks team against this Pacer team. And by the way, Reggie Miller, please, because what you're doing is stealing Halliburton's thunder. When you keep inserting it, Halliburton is a better player than Reggie Miller will ever be.
Whoa.
Come on. He is.
All right.
Wait, he's a better player. Reggie Miller was a good player. He was not a great player.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Because of those 9 seconds. He had a Hall of Fame moment, Dan. I mean, he is in the Hall of 9 seconds. That's what he is.
Put it on the poll. Should Reggie Miller be in the Hall of 9 seconds?
Yes.
So should you.
I think...
thank you.
Patino as well. I think that I have
giving me 9, huh?
Sound
I think
here.
my wife would put me in it.
9. It's like 3 times for me.
Good one.
Like a rabbit. He has sex.
Bounce back is great, though.
Like a little rabbit. And I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get the sting out of my eyes after a thrusting Chris threw himself in the middle of the conversation.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't my fault. I wasn't expecting it, and it disoriented me because it was pink and enthused.
Oh.
Also how she would describe me.
Reggie Miller is a Hall of Famer. But, Zaslow, do you know the story of the spot that Boog put me in with Reggie Miller?
I already told you. I remember everything from 790. Great memory.
What I remember is Boog squeezing my knee. Yeah. Squeezing my knee before asking Reggie Miller, after I had said for months that he didn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. In front of Reggie Miller, he asked me whether I thought Reggie Miller was a Hall of Famer. We'd done like 2 months worth of shows on it.
This was outside Versace, maybe?
It was outside the
pregame
Mansion,
show.
yes.
Yeah, we were there early. Eli was there.
Eli Manning showed up too early. Matt Leinart drank too much and was in the hot tub. Too early as well.
When wasn't he?
Boog wrote down on a piece of paper as Reggie was approaching the table, "Watch what I do to Dan."
Yeah. Oh, Roy, you don't remember? Yeah, no, it was, and he squeezed my knee. And Boog's got, people don't understand this. Like, one of the things about Kawhi Leonard that's so amazing is his hands are stronger than anybody else's in the NBA. Boog's hands.
Yeah. Mitts.
I mean, it's not.
Not surprising.
But it's catcher's mitts, and if he squeezes your knee is going to be much smaller than his hand. Okay, because it's like being squeezed by a frying pan, like just very hard. And so he squeezes my knee as he does this to me. As Reggie Miller's I'm sitting down, and Reggie Miller's got his hand on my shoulder, and this is what happened.
Are you a Hall of Famer?
No, there's too many other guys that are more deserving than I.
Le Batard, do you think he's going in?
No.
I think you are.
Yeah, you're going in.
Yeah.
Classic Stugotz.
I think you are.
So not only did Boog put you in that spot, but he came over the top, off the top rope with, I believe
and then Stugotz was helpful.
Of course.
Just alone with a syllable.
Le Batard, do you think he's going in?
No.
You got to lie there, Dan. Just lie to him.
After months of being on the radio.
It's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I'm afraid to say it now.
No.
First ballot.
Yeah, that would be who I am. That's who you know me to be.
No.
You're so meek.
Because my friend knew that's how I was going to answer.
And his hand was on your knee.
And he was squeezing my knee. And
no.
Yeah, it was a death grip. But you've got Minnesota, Stugotz, playing OKC, and generally speaking, when a team wins 68 games and has that point differential, they are not going to be beaten by anybody. Basketball people who are watching are saying if they're top 5 offense, top 5 defense, they're going to beat you any one of the ways. No one else can do that. Mm-hmm. And they just did to Jokic what no one can do to Jokic. And if he's not quitting, at the end, you understand how the wheels are just falling off of whatever that was in Denver for 3 years that has been what Boston has been competing with for 3 years. And the pieces start falling apart, Stugotz, because look at when you talk about the cost of some of this stuff, Kevin Durant and his Achilles, when 3 or 4 years of this competitive of basketball, Aaron Gordon is saying today, or yesterday, I would really, really appreciate it if there were a couple of days in between games in the playoffs instead of every other day. The product of the game would be a lot better. You'll see a higher level of basketball, probably less blowouts. Aaron Gordon, he's important to them, and he's playing injured, and the bodies aren't going to hold up after 3 or 4 years of this, and you can rip Jokic, but good God, that defense, Stugotz, like it's young and hungry and has had the heartbreak of last year because that team really wanted it last year and wasn't ready. It was beaten by a Minnesota team that is immature and doesn't win as a favorite, does not win as a favorite. OKC is the favorite now. They won 68 games. They're a lot better than everyone else. If they don't have injuries, that team should skate to the title. But random, threes, young team, Brunson, you can talk yourself into some fun maybes because it's less predictable than it's been. And it's why the NBA is back. Because this has been really predictable for a long time, and it should be fun to see the transition of power. Boston getting knocked out. I know it's not great because you like the history of Boston, and Boston's a big market, but opening
but you get the Knicks.
Yeah, but opening it up to New York, this is how you scrub. We've been talking about just Steph and LeBron for 15 years, Stugotz. We need some new stories.
And if you look across all of those storylines and all those narratives with the 4 teams remaining, you've got Shea, who's most likely more than not going to be the MVP. You've got Anthony Edwards on the other side, Julius Randle, who's having an incredible season. You look at the East, Jalen Brunson, the Knicks. You look at Halliburton and the Pacers. Like, these are teams that you can set up for the next 5-7 years if they all stay together, where it's like, oh, wow, we don't know who's going to be here, and we just have a replication of what happened in the early 2000s and early teens.
The Knicks and the Timberwolves would be fun, right? Those are two teams who went deep into the playoffs last year and still said, hey, our teams are not good enough, and they improved their rosters, and they traded with each other. And so that would be a fun little series to watch.
Now you know where Dante DiVincenzo is.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we kind of glossed over, the point which Tony made there is, these could be teams for the next 5 to 7 years. No, that's not the way the league works
No, it's 7 different champs in 7 years. It's the first time that's ever happened. Ever. A reigning champion hasn't made it past the second round since 2019.
That's crazy.
But the sport has changed. The threes has changed everything, and it's either going to ruin the sport or bring it back, because the games are going to be what matter. And Aaron Gordon's not wrong when he says, man, you saw how good that basketball was in the bubble, right? If we're rested, if it's not us, listen, pal, the human body's limits make it so the best athletes in the world can't play all of the minutes in a basketball game. They need rest. The jumping and running and hitting your hands on the rim and landing create joint stuff with the flights, their giant bodies. The luxury hotels are sometimes great, and often they're too big to sleep comfortably because they're 7'7", and it's not a normal thing to be in the world. I understand we make fun of the load management, but Aaron Gordon is simply telling you, in the bubble, we hated it, couldn't go anywhere. But you saw how good the basketball was because the best athletes in the world weren't broken from trying to get to the next game the next night in the next city.
But I also saw something that wasn't the NBA. I saw guys playing in front of no fans. I don't care about the quality of basketball. Part of the NBA, part of climbing that mountain is going on the road and beating a team on the road in a big Game 7 in front of their fans.
Well, and more so, part of the NBA is look at the 4 teams remaining now. Minnesota, Indiana, New York, Oklahoma City. They're healthy. This is part of the NBA. There's a little bit of luck involved there. You avoid the injury. You're healthy. You move on.
Funny invoking the name of Aaron Gordon, who we got a report from Shams had a grade 2 hamstring strain, who was going to be out several weeks, if not more. And then you see him in the starting lineup the next day, and you're like, how is this happening? Grabbed 11 boards in the first 10 minutes of the game. So he's a guy that's showing you, we play too much. I say we play too much, but look at me go do it and actually talk the talk and walk the walk.
Yes, but at what cost? Because Durant hasn't been the same since tearing his Achilles, because there is a short-sightedness in having to get out there, because the stakes get ratcheted up to such a place that Julius Randle might not get this shot the rest of his life. There are no promises here. The league is changing all of the time. Julius Randle, if he wants to be all the things that he's dreamt about being, here's a chance. Here's the chance as the underdog. And you only have to ride number 2. You don't even have to be the best number 2 there's been, Giannis. You could just be number 2 to Anthony Edwards. And if you knock off that team, which I do not believe they can, I believe they will get smothered and they will shoot tons and tons of threes. You like their size, Tony?
I like their size, Dan. I like that Minnesota's been the biggest problem for OKC this season. And it's if you start looking at some of the matchups, there's something there.
Do we owe Rudy Gobert a little bit of an apology?
No.
Or rather, Minnesota an apology for criticizing that move the way that we did. Because, look, they gave up a ton of picks. It might ultimately end up leading to nothing, and having all of those picks maybe could have been useful in the long run with Anthony Edwards. But in the short term, they have an opportunity here. They're back in their second straight conference finals. They have an anchor of their defense that they're able to build the rest of this around. And he hasn't been played off the floor.
I'll say it. I'm sorry, Minnesota. I feel like I wasn't the loudest of the criticizers, but I'll say it.
You were part of it.
Not to Minnesota, to Rudy Gobert.
He's right, though.
Both.
It was more the team.
We were the team for doing it. We can still, Rudy Gobert.
This is an interesting one, though, because when, as Zaslow is saying, we always overlook this one. Health is so important. The Timberwolves are 30-6 in the last 36 games that Julius Randle has played. 30-6. And the Pacers they've lost 5 times in 2 months. That includes the playoffs. The Pacers. So
that's good, right?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Since January, they're like 46-14. The Pacers
so the Knicks are favored in that series, and I understand that
they should be. I mean.
That New York is feeling itself, but because.
Well, they're the 3 seed. They have home court advantage. They should be a slight favorite, of course. They beat Boston.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because if we're doing the sliding scale of randomness in the three-point age, and I'm throwing health into the mix because, of course, Minnesota advances because Steph got hurt. I don't know if Minnesota should have or would have advanced. Steph and Jimmy Butler were hurt. So, okay, yeah, they're healthier. But I'm saying when Julius Randle is healthy, Minnesota's 30-6, and the Pacers have lost 5 times in 2 months, and some of those games are against Cleveland in the postseason. Like, they were going to Cleveland and winning at Cleveland. Like, the Pacers, I understand that they only had 50 wins this season, but they all came when they were healthy toward the end. And so, like, whatever the Knicks are favored by, it shouldn't be very much, and a feel-good story will collapse in a heap if it becomes the Pacers. Like, when Stugotz is saying, good luck with that, Pacers, on the refereeing in these games. Like, you thought Halliburton's dad was bad last round. Wait till the Garden gets a load of him.
That's where the ratings thing is interesting, right? Because everybody in America pretty much is rooting for the Knicks outside of maybe Boston and down here. Everyone's rooting for the Knicks. The Pacers, if they're able to pull off an upset, become such an unbelievable villain going into the NBA Finals, particularly if you get the Oklahoma City matchup, where it's the young team that's supposed to get the title, that's supposed to be there, and it would be Indiana messing all of that up. This team with Tyrese Halliburton, that would be a really cool villain story for them.
Right, but a story that no one watches. I mean,
there's no other villain,
just
right?
basketball nerds.
There's no other villain, right? No, I love the Halliburton story. Like, that's...
You're a bird.
Anthony Edwards could be a villain, maybe, especially if they play the Knicks. Like, he has that type of aura going into the Garden.
Hold on, guys. 25 years of Knicks basketball has been dreadful, where it's only Larry Johnson a million years ago and Jeremy Lin and nothing else.
We had a month of Stoudemire.
Okay, there's nothing else for a quarter century. But what do I drop in the middle of that? And it didn't have these stakes that felt pretty damn good. Oh, there's Trae Young for a minute. Going into Madison Square Garden, not afraid. Halliburton going into New York, unafraid, with Reggie Miller calling the games.
Enough of him. I told you.
In how, like, I know New York is feeling itself.
Reggie Miller is not going into Madison Square Garden. Halliburton is. Reggie is not.
He is. He's going to be courtside.
He's watching the game like me and you. Okay?
But he's also calling the game.
That's good for him.
No. Do you think they'll show Reggie in the opening montage walking into the arena?
100%.
Stugotz, it's not going to be just like you and me. He's calling the game. In the big moments, his voice.
I call the game at home.
You should do a simulcast opposite Reggie Miller by yourself calling the game at home.
More work?
I've got the Heat working on something. Sources deep within the Heat organization have told me that they have found your audition tape for their post-game, pre-game show.
Oh, it's the worst thing ever. I mean, I don't care. You can play it. It's probably, and I've had many embarrassing moments in my life. This is probably the most embarrassed I've ever been. I mean, I got to tell you, studio host, hard job. Very hard job. Difficult.
But you just said you could do it as well as Reggie Miller.
Well, I could do play-by-play. I do it in my house.
That's color. That's color. That's different.
I mean, you've heard me do play-by-play before, Dan. I mean, I told you, Glenn Geffner said if you spend a little time just working on the craft, you would be an all-time great. I mean,
Zaslow also auditioned for that, didn't you?
I auditioned for that role also, the studio host for pre-halftime post. Yep.
Right.
How'd you do? That's the job that went to Will Manso?
That's it. Oh, Will Manso.
Yeah.
His name should be Will Handsome.
Will Hanso?
Will Hanso is even better. That's a good television name.
I wanted that job.
Will Hanso.
Will Hanso. So were you any good, though?
I had no experience, so for someone with no experience, I thought I was pretty good, but I didn't get it.
I was terrible. And I knew I was terrible. While I was in it, I was sweating. Oh.
Well, but I think you went in there with the same bravado you go into all situations.
No prep. Yeah.
Where, well, yes.
I love the visual that they've created, though, of like an audition room where you walk in, it's like Zaslow's over there, Will Manso's over here.
It was, yeah.
Who else was in that room? Like, come on, throw other names at me.
Me,
This is a fun game.
Zaslow. I think Sedano was in that room, wasn't he?
No.
No, Sedano. The gig opened up because Sedano left.
Oh, okay.
Too big time.
Yeah. He was good at it.
For sure, Witty probably at that time tried out for it too.
Let's listen, just so that you know. I am not a doctor. Zaslow is, but
I am a doctor.
I have diagnosed Stugotz with Dunning-Kruger, which is the sort of inane, inexplicable belief that you can do anything and be better at anything than you actually are capable of being.
Thank you.
And Greg Cody is also afflicted with this. But this is Stugotz, after saying on the air he could be a play-by-play man for Major League Baseball. This is Stugotz's first foray at a Marlins game.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning. Nailed it.
Slides into first.
Thank you. I got that wrong.
The rare hit down the right field line where you have to slide into first.
Right. Once I get into it, though, I'm pretty good. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear the potential.
I can hear the gin and tonic.
Again, this is radio, so there are no visuals. I want you to imagine that you are betting heavily on the Marlins in this game, and you're trying to figure out what just happened because this guy is making jokes still 10 seconds after the crack of the bat, which everyone knows is blasphemy to talk through.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
So
pretty good.
It's the third inning.
I set the
Wait a
scene.
minute.
I mean,
So
Is he going back?
Logan Morrison was on first, and Martinez was sliding back into first, correct? That's what was happening?
Very rare play.
that's on Sampson for asking me a question right before I'm doing the.
But wait a minute. Was there anyone at third, or was it runners on first and third, or were there two runners on first?
I think there was a runner on first, and it ended up that it was first and third because Martinez slid into first.
Okay, one more time. Let me hear this.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
So I think Martinez was on first. He slid into third, not first. Logan Morrison got the hit, and then it was first and third.
Yes, I think that's what happened too. But what you
But
described,
the picture you painted.
We're clear, just so we're clear.
It can't be whatever.
It's not whatever. Thank you. Zaslow, thank
paint
you.
your own picture.
Zaslow, it can't be whatever is exactly
It's
right.
like the last thing it is. Whatever.
It is for me.
Zaslow.
Call the game your way, and I'll call it mine.
And the way that he called it is I'm in my car, and I only have the audio experience. So at the end of that, I just want you to know, I've got Logan Morrison at first base standing there. I've got Martinez sliding back head first into first base, but also Martinez is at third as well. So so we're clear.
I don't think he ever slided anywhere into any base.
Slid. Gin Scully over here.
Osvaldo Martinez is who we're talking about.
Gin Scully.
That's a good nickname.
So
for
jealous
Stugotz.
of your confidence. Just your confidence in that
Thank
clip.
you.
It's just.
It had to be the gin though, because you can hear the first 10 seconds of him
It's a
trying
day
to
game.
like
It's noon.
rattle
It's
around of
noon.
like
It's
I got
noon.
gin in me.
It's Sampson asking me a question, but once I got into the mechanics of calling a baseball game, pretty good.
It's the third inning.
Tony, it was the third inning of a day game, and it wasn't gin. It was just Stugotz. It was thought. It's how thought came out because he had his joke set up, and there's the crack of the bat, and I'm not going to ad-lib. Let me get my joke off. Now Martinez is at both third and first and sliding into one of them.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
Do we have another clip?
I want to talk about something else in basketball today, Stugotz, as we talk about stories and narratives and how things become popular and how you sit and watch history as it unfolds. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have started something that I haven't quite seen since Magic and Bird, and Magic and Bird didn't seem to hate each other.
Respected each other, yes.
But they what is interesting about what's happening there, you guys give me the other two athletes that have come in at the same time and are sort of elbowing each other for space at the start of something personality-wise, and you can know they don't like each other, and on top of that, are doing the race dynamics of the day different than Magic and Bird did them, because Magic and Bird, everybody was very lucky that Magic was as graceful as he was during the entirety of that time as the league exploded, because Magic's smile and all the things Larry Bird was and is why Indiana cares about basketball the way that it does. And it's happening again, except Angel Reese doesn't do it the way Magic Johnson's going to do it, and now there's a sharpened edge on all of it that's even more interesting, I think, than Magic and Bird palling around in the sneaker commercials. Now it's like, oh, everyone here is cutthroat, and they really don't like each other, and and Angel Reese is carrying with her some of the, hey, white basketball player, black basketball players built this, and now you're profiting off it, which is the same thing that was happening with Magic and Bird.
Yes.
Like the basketball became an American story. Basketball became America's sport, at least in part because of how all of it was intertwined. Race and history and sports and hip hop and style and culture, all of it. Because culturally, white people don't tend to dominate the sport loved by black people the way that Americans dominate the sport that's loved by Canadians. Or Florida dominates the sport that's loved by Canadians. But you have something happening right now in the WNBA that is exactly the kind of sparks you need.
It's fever, actually, not the sparks.
Right. It's a fine.
Oh, wow.
WNBA joke.
Yeah. It was a good one. It was a good one.
Do you guys have any other commentary on this?
I feel like, could it also just be two competitive basketball players had a competitive moment on the court, and we're just
well, they always have those.
And moments. We're taking it and we're running with it.
With a history, right? Like they've played against each other in huge moments over and over and over again. They're being pushed as this thing together as rookies. I don't know that this is like a race war. I just think these are two competitors. You know what I mean?
One of the important things with Magic and with Bird is Bird went to the Celtics. Magic went to the Lakers. They were marquee franchises. I'm not even certain the Sky are any good.
Jeremy, here's the thing, though. Fair enough, all of it. But you don't get to decide what the race war is.
Well, don't they?
Well, no. Everything that happens around them is what decides.
Okay, so you do.
No, not me either. Not me. Everything that happens.
I think you think it's you.
I think it's me?
Yes.
I think I get to decide whether it's a race war.
For about 20 years or so.
If anyone can declare a race war around here, I trust you.
Yeah, it's you. You've been doing it for like 20 years. Yeah, that's your whole thing.
Yeah. We're agreeing with you. It shouldn't be Jeremy. You are the most qualified.
I don't think so.
I'm a race war expert.
Did you say you were going to start with the song? Please leave all that in so people can see how you're just grinning maniacally instead of doing your job. Just play the song now. You said you were going to play the song and then you forgot because the Panthers have you drunk with power.
Hey, man, I'm happy, man. Play the song.
Oh, no. Knicks fan Taylor. No.
I come back from a garden night, my mother asked that the Knicks must have lost, right? Oh, mother dear, we're now the fortunate ones. New York has Jalen Brunson. Oh, New York has Jalen Brunson. The ball in his hands, and the score is tight. My father yells, best thing to happen in my life. Oh, daddy dear, signing him is number one. New York has Jalen Brunson. Oh, New York really has. He's all we really want. Brunson will win the game when it is done because New York has Jalen Brunson. New York has Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson.
People have paid us for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong, immoral.
Sam Morrill.
Guy's a hack.
Totally.
He's mad at all of us.
You know, I used to like him.
He's
Now I
he's
can't.
Mad at himself. Be funny.
He's now mad at everybody. Tony, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to. This is a delayed penalty.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
In your dismount on the Timberwolves.
I know what it was. I'll go.
Wait, I want to know what it was.
I'd like to know.
Right. Seems like a ticky-tack call.
Well, he just held his hand up.
Yeah, that was a
ball off me.
I don't actually know. I haven't talked to him about this, so I don't know if he has this right. I wonder if he knows, and I want to call him back in here to get him to explain.
You can't. I mean,
what could he have possibly thought it was that he was that worried to just walk out?
I want to see what he's got here, if indeed he's got anything, because I want to see if we're on the same wavelength here, because I can't believe that he would know exactly what my criticism is going to be.
No, I know exactly what it was, and I know because when I said it, I was like, okay, thank God he said something, and I didn't have to say anything other than that. When you asked me if it was a size, like, yeah, it's a size. I think they have something there, and then we kind of just left it for like 3 seconds, and then you moved on, and I was like, oof, all right, good.
Okay, good. You know what?
Yeah.
You can
I can stay? You're reversing the penalty?
Yes, for just a blanket for
after review.
Yeah, well, because
Judge?
Because the honesty and the ability to know. Now, Stugotz says I should escalate it to a 5-minute major, but I think he should be forgiven because what I was going to complain about is, you may have noticed, Zach Lowe, very popular at least in part because he's doing a very, very difficult thing well, which is explaining in bite-sized morsels something that shows you that he has more information than just about anybody analyzing basketball the way that he's doing it with the analytics. That's what he does to great success. I throw the NBA is back to Tony. He says of the Timberwolves, there's something there.
Well, that was after a long conversation about narratives, about now the league is changing hands and we're passing the torch. And
I know, but there's something there is something we can say about every there that's there.
There's always something, right? And I had something. The thing is, do you want to go on a long diatribe about how the Wolves have great size, how Julius Randle's been playing great, how me and Jeremy were talking about how Gobert is actually the anchor of that defense, allows Julius Randle to play more of like a 3 instead of a 4 or a 5, allows him to play bully ball with guys that are smaller than him, which is, by the way, what Cat's been dealing with when they play him smaller defenders. All of a sudden, Cat's not that good. The Knicks aren't that good if he gets defended by smaller guys. What happened in Denver? All of a sudden, Alex Caruso playing against Jokic. Turnovers. Did you know what the different turnover differential for the Oklahoma City Thunder off points and the Denver Nuggets was yesterday? 37-7. 37 points on turnovers OKC did have. So, and that was another thing, and I'm going to leave after that. Thank you.
Zach Lowe blocked me on Twitter one time.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
Sounds like a low blow.
I had no idea why.
Hey.
Okay, you know what? What are we doing?
Low blow.
One checks out.
Hey, no.
I'm going too.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes. High sticking.
Jeremy, we're going to have to name that the Jeremy Memorial Award.
2 minutes for being Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, are you ready to do weekend observations? We haven't gotten them in a while, and Amin is a pale imitation. Are you ready to attack your weekend observations?
Sure.
Is there some Scotty Scheffler in there? There's
some Scotty Scheffler in there, yeah, of course.
Roy, do you have any thoughts on RG3 making a heel turn? Do we have? Is that going to be found? Probably not in weekend observations. Let's see what's in weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Dan, after they announced their final tour in 2023, I made sure I was at every show. I thought it was over. Then they gave me not one, but 2 residences at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Once again, thought it was done. But Dan, for their 60th anniversary, that's right, I said 60th, they announced a 3-night extravaganza at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And Dan, Just like that. Make no mistake about it. Dead & Company is back.
What does this mean to your schedule? What's going to happen?
It means I'll be off in August.
I know what it means for me.
Hey.
Stugotz's line now is just to go, hey, when Zaz says something.
I'm happy for Zaz. I mean, thank you for allowing me on your show today. Boston Celtics. At least you'll always have the Luke Cornett game. For a brief moment, after Game 5, how many people also thought the Celtics might just be better without Jason Tatum? I did it.
That team, if Brown hadn't also been hurt, I believe that team without Tatum could be as good as the Knicks. I don't think that's an absurd thing to say. They won 60 games. They're not a 50-win team. It's a good they're 5 deep in a way that is unusual for the league.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not only won the series, but he won the MVP. Congratulations, SGA. Now do it in the Western Conference Finals. And if you do it in the NBA Finals.
There it is.
Nikola Jokic, the choker.
Jokic, the yoker. When Jokic, the yoker.
The choker. I would love to watch 5 Alex Carusos versus 5 Al Horfords. Something would have to give. You would watch that. Yeah, but you would watch that. There's 5 Carusos on the court taking on 5 Horfords.
There's so much diving for loose balls there going on. Unfortunately, the game is 9-6.
Yeah. Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mets and Yankees, little Subway Series. WFAN, 20 shares, collision course. What a time to be a sports radio host in New York. Oh, my God. Juan Soto, overrated. Taylor. I would never say that. LeBron tweeting, the best 2 words in sports is Game 7. Hey, LeBron, get your own bit. When you think MLB rivalry week, you think Mariners-Padres. The Vetter Cup.
The Angels swept the Dodgers this weekend for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah. But Mariners-Padres? Rivalry? The Vetter Cup? Vetter's a Cub fan.
That's true.
It's weird. How was Pearl Jam's house? I haven't seen you in a while.
So good.
The greatest?
So good.
Jalen Brunson is what Kristaps Porzingis was supposed to be. He's also what Luka Doncic was supposed to be. That's the one they let get away. You agree?
Doncic.
I don't care.
It's obvious.
I mean, win something and I'll pronounce your name correctly. Win anything.
I thought we might be able to trick him if we asked, where's Julius Randle playing, even after having
Timberwolves.
No, but I think we could have gotten you.
No coach's name and looks work better in the city that he coaches in than Rick Carlisle. He should coach there forever.
Hasn't he?
I don't know. Has he?
I mean, I don't imagine there are a lot of coaches that have had that
looks
much.
like Indiana.
How many years has Carlisle had in Indiana? Is he the longest? Would his tenure in Indiana be longer than anybody but Spoelstra's in the NBA? Like, coaches don't get to last that
It's his
time.
second stint there.
I know, but in terms of total years, if we're talking about Carlisle coaching the Pacers, does he have more total years with one franchise than anyone but Pop and Spo? Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting somebody?
Steve Kerr?
No, he's got to have more years than that. Carlisle would have.
He has to, yeah.
Would have. I think he would have the third longest, amount of years by a good amount, given how much. Weren't you complaining this morning? Didn't you come in here complaining that being an NBA coach used to mean something?
It did. I mean, listen, we have 4 teams right now playing in the conference finals, and I'm telling you, I couldn't name a Western Conference final head coach. What has happened to Cotton Fitzsimmons?
Yeah, but this is just because you've been at Dead & Company frying your brain. It's not because...
Dan, if I was playing blackjack in Vegas, okay, at the Wynn before a Dead show with either of the coaches of the Western Conference Finals, I wouldn't know it. More people would recognize me at that blackjack table than either of those two coaches. It used to mean something. What happened to Del Harris?
He's right, though. Adelman is very inconspicuous.
What happened to Del Harris?
Gene Shoe?
Put it on the poll, Juju. What happened to Del Harris?
I mean, the only reason I know the Eastern Conference coaches is because I'm paying attention to the Eastern Conference.
You don't say.
Otherwise, I would have no idea that Tom Thibodeau was coaching the Knicks.
This is the 8th season in total that Carlisle has been with the Pacers.
Huh.
I thought it was
as
longer.
the head coach. He was an assistant there for 3 or 4 years before that.
So Steve Kerr has been longer with the Warriors than Carlisle has been with the Pacers? So I had that wrong. I'm just remembering. I had his first run being longer than that because it involved the Malice at the
It was
Palace.
4 years, and then he's in his 4th year now.
It was 03 through 07.
But the coaches were everything. It was Billy Cunningham. It was Casey Jones. You remember this?
You long for this?
I do. What happened to the coaching profession?
I don't.
Bernie Bickerstaff.
I don't.
Oh, Bernie Bickerstaff. Kevin Lockery. Lock.
I mean, you've still got a Bickerstaff. I thought if you liked that name, you would just like it now, that it's his son. Like there's put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is there always going to be a Bickerstaff in
Who does
basketball?
he coach? Who does JB Bickerstaff coach?
Ooh, JB Bickerstaff.
You haven't been watching.
They had a really good season. Made the playoffs.
Made the playoffs.
We're a really
Good
bad team last year.
He's
season.
Shaquille O'Neal. He's Shaq. And well, but not only that.
Historically bad.
Pace? No.
Carlisle and the Pacers.
That's right. Second stint.
Think of Malice in the Palace.
The Bucks.
I mean, Jalen Brunson had a moment for all time to break his heart.
JB Bickerstaff.
How are you not watching that series?
I mean, I
Probably
was.
second in Coach of the Year voting this year.
I'm not watching with the coaches.
One of the greatest crossovers I've ever seen.
Who was it against?
Iverson? What happened to Paul Westhead? Paul Goldschmidt. Still got it.
That's crazy that he still got it. How?
Yankees.
Pablo Torre doing a report on Bill Belichick's girlfriend and UNC, immediately saying how wrong he was. It sounds like Pablo Torre around and found out. That should be the new name of his podcast. Pablo Torre around and finds out.
All right, Taylor. Come on. His fingerprints are all over that one.
I mean, but it's also why it's called Pablo Torre Finds Out.
Oh, he fucked around and found out.
And he got it right, and North Carolina's lying. Like, you got nothing right here. Like, nothing. Not the coach of the Pistons, not where DiVincenzo plays.
The Pistons, huh?
I can't believe you told him, Dan.
Chuck Daly.
That was a coach. That was a coach.
Thank you. Roy says Larry Brown, not a coach, though. I don't like Larry Brown.
What?
I don't like him.
What do you mean, Larry?
I'm
Won a championship.
Listen, I am saying all the coaches were celebrities back in the day. Cotton Fitzsimmons didn't win a thing, but you knew who Cotton Fitzsimmons was.
None of those people did. None of
That's
the
my
people
point.
Paul Westphal.
Yeah, but you knew him.
That's
Where
good.
is Dan Issel?
Yeah, right.
You knew Dan Issel. If you were playing blackjack with Dan Issel, you knew you were playing blackjack with the head coach.
Tony, just so that you know, okay, the NBA will
Big
not
hands.
be back until Stugotz looks on a sideline, sees a guy in a suit, and says, that guy looks like Dan Issel. That's what I needed. I needed someone paroling the sidelines in a suit.
I wonder what the diagram that we would have to make of, like, Stu knowing the coaches versus when they stopped wearing suits. Like, whatever that axis point
You know what we
is.
have to do? We have to do this.
You're onto
We have to
something.
quiz him next time he's on with just faces of people who are famous in sports that he should know that his brain has been fried because Grateful Dead.
Put that on the calendar. Mid-August, boys.
To do it, or that you're going to be gone?
Yeah, he's going to be gone. That's when we can do it, when he's not here. He already told us he's going to be on vacation.
I'll be back. I mean, it's 3 shows. Golden Gate Park, early August. I'll be back mid-August. I'm just saying if you're going to do it right after 3 dead shows. That's all I'm saying. You can't spell Austin Matthews without no show. Try it. I have. Austin Matthews is the Wayne Gretzky of Joel Embiid's.
Do you know how much spelling you just made us do on Austin Matthews?
There's only one O in Austin Matthews.
No show. You only need one O.
You can use it 2 times like Martinez.
Those are my rules.
Martinez
Yes,
on
thank
first
you.
and third. He's there in both places.
Let's slide into that O.
Mm-hmm. The 7 in Game 7 stands for how many straight Game 7s the Leafs have lost.
That's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. I mean, what a bunch of losers. I mean, you can't. I'm not even being mean. It's
Poor
just
people in Toronto,
It's just
Dan.
factual.
I mean, they're in an igloo ice fishing right now.
Toronto's a major city.
Nah, Stu's right.
He thinks they're like Eskimos.
Yeah, we're at the beach and
all
they're
they
in an
have is
igloo.
hockey. We have everything. And they lost a Sunrise. I mean,
Stugotz's rapid descent into just spectacular ignorance. Like, you just put Toronto's a big ass city, Stugotz.
you say so.
You have them ice fishing in an igloo. Like,
is that Ottawa?
That's Winnipeg. Those poor people.
Yeah.
Do you know how
I feel bad for
frustrating this is where they're like, Tampa's as far south as all that's going to go, right? Like, we're not going to go any further than that. All the Canadians on Hollywood Beach wearing socks and sandals. We're not going to go that far. Really? Really? That's going to take out McDavid? It's going to hide the puck in the corner and take out McDavid.
Yeah. Dallas.
They must hate us so much right now. I sounded like Trump the first 2 hours of the show, making fun of Canada.
I love when the announcers say a goalie is standing on his head. I don't know what it means, but
That's the same thing Chris said last week.
Just
What
like
it
it.
what it means is, instead of legs, he's on his head and he's stomping everything.
Oh.
Why do you guys not know what this means?
Just like it.
Well, it's ridiculous because if he actually stood on his head, he'd be a much less effective goalie.
Not if you were Bobrovsky. That's the point.
Now I get it.
The point is that he can. You try and get it past him, and he saves it with his butt. He saves it with his head. He saves it on his head. He saves it however he wants.
Carlo saved it with his butt, not Bobrovsky.
But Bobrovsky can also save it with his butt while standing on his head.
The O in O Canada stands for how many Canadian teams have lifted a Stanley Cup in the last 32 years.
It has to make him insane, right?
For Canada.
Right? Like, just they care.
It's their game, Dan.
They care so much, and Tony's back there saying he doesn't know the name of a crease or the color of a blue line.
Maybe they should care less. I saw Kachuk was on Spit and Chicklets this morning, basically saying, like, the fans deserve a little, like, that's too much pressure. We don't have to deal with that. Like, I don't want to blame the fans for too much pressure, but there is something to the effect of back off a little bit. You're not helping.
Where's Jim Lynam?
That's what I'm talking about. You knew him. You're sitting at a blackjack table and Jimmy Lyman's there. You know it, Jim?
I think you just went dyslexic there.
What happened to Dr. Jack?
The M before the N. What did happen to Dr. Jack?
Rest in peace.
Grasser.
Leonard.
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 Thunder. Thunder.
Dan, you know what the N in Nikola and the J in Jokic stands for? They stand for not Jordan. Never will be Jordan. Never should have been compared to Jordan. It stands for not today, not tomorrow, not at any point in history will Jokic be better than Michael Jordan. Little wordy.
Except statistically, when you do the advanced metrics on offensive game and efficiencies.
The greatest player ever.
But okay.
He's not.
Okay.
It's 6 shots in a game 7.
It was 9, but
9. Get your own shots.
OKC's very good at defense. They can frustrate
Oh,
people.
the Pistons weren't.
Where's George Karl?
That's what I'm talking about.
I know.
What happened to Georgie?
Zaz can play this game for the rest of your life.
I'm waiting for a Dick Mata.
Just got him.
John Lucas. Shohei Ohtani. Do it against the Angels. I don't like this Ohtani guy.
What?
He's not that good.
You're infuriating.
Unbelievable.
3 majors, 15 wins, 28 years old. Close your eyes for a second, Dan. Imagine Scotty Scheffler was black.
Holy. Oh, my God.
That arrest would have gone over differently.
Oh, yeah.
He'd still be in jail.
Yeah. Only have 2 majors. We're not talking enough about him.
Where's Bob Hill?
Thank you. What a head of hair. Silver, right?
You know it.
Such a good one. If you look closely at just their faces, Scotty Scheffler and Elvis Presley look exactly alike. The king. Scotty Scheffler, droopy face. It's impossible for anyone to run downhill and not look clumsy. It's hard.
Put it on the poll.
Not level ground.
At Le Batard Show. Is it possible to run downhill without looking clumsy?
Read a story over the weekend, Dan, about the Celtics needing to start over. That was quick.
Right? That's kind of stunning, right? Yeah. No one had it quite like that, right? Where we go from, oh, whoa, over?
Yeah.
No.
Second apron?
No. Again.
Rebuild.
Again, these things, 4 and 5 years at a time, really hard. Ligaments tear, bodies break, people hate each other. It seems like these people don't. Denver just fell apart at the end, Stugotz.
Mm-hmm. Is there a worse reputation to have than being the franchise that is called the franchise where quarterbacks go to die? The Bears. I mean, Caleb didn't want to go there. I don't blame him, by the way. Quarterbacks go to die.
The Jets are going to have that reputation shortly.
Well, they have it.
If they're, I don't know.
They had Geno Smith. He's moved on. They had Sam Darnold. He's moved on. Those guys have made Pro Bowls. They have that reputation. Anyway.
Where's Doug Moe?
Oh, Doug Moe. Jesus. Coach K. Great name for a drug. Things you think about, man. When you think you're seeing Coach K walking around the Wynn at the Sphere. Oh, what a great time I had with him, I think.
1,000 Coach Ks.
I don't know.
Just it really does sound like mushrooms and Grateful Dead to just see a desert of just unending Coach Ks.
I was asking people, is there a coaching convention going on here? I keep seeing Coach K. No one else saw him. That's why I'm a bit.
Well, that's probably why it was the drugs. Yes.
If you have the Maple Leafs in a Game 7 on their home ice, you've got them exactly where you want them. Amazing.
Put it on the poll. Is every single Maple Leaf fan a loser?
Yo, where's Rudy T?
Rudy Tomjanovich. Jeez, one of the greats. The 2 most magical words in sports are Game 7. Unless you're a Leafs fan, then it's hell on earth. Speaking of hell, or Bryles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Since 2018, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 0-7 in make-or-break-it games, and they've been outscored 28-9. Yesterday it was crazy. 75 shots in 2 periods. Like that, just for a moment, imagine Stugotz as a sports fan, 25 years of failure, irrelevance, New York Knicks, New York Jets. It hurts, it stinks. He dares to hope. They fail all the time. Aaron Rodgers injured after a play.
3 plays.
Toronto was buoyant. Toronto hasn't felt that good in a long time. They were an overtime goal away from up 3-0 on the defending champions, and then they come and do the unthinkable. They win Game 6 and shut out Florida at home and make Florida fans, whether they admit it or not, a hiccup of, oof, Game 7 on the road isn't very comfortable, except against them.
Right.
Historically against them, because the fans care so much that the players feel it, and all of a sudden Matthews is a no-show with 1-0, which is not how you spell no-show.
You know what? I'm actually annoyed about this because it took an extra game for the Panthers to beat them. They should have won Game 6. Like, all this flying to Toronto, potential injury, now you got to fly to Raleigh. Like, they should have gotten the job done in Game 6.
I love how why do you have flying to Raleigh?
Why are you pounding on the desk?
It's 48 minutes. I mean,
Now they have to fly. Now they have to
I
fly
gotta
to
fly
Raleigh.
Carolina.
But why are you pounding on the desk as you say this? It should have been 6.
It should have been 6.
Well, then you would have been denied outscoring them twice. 2 of 3 games for your season, 2 of them at home.
Come on, Roy. That's the best feeling in sports. Their home ice. Their fans were leaving early.
That's the greatest thing about this.
Hold on. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. What is the greatest feeling in sports? Winning Game 7 on the road or winning Game 7 at home? Because I don't know if
a lot of athletes say that shutting up the opposing team's fans is the best feeling. Like, they say it all the time. I don't know if it's true.
Well, I would say the players who are most villainous say that. I don't say a lot. Chipper Jones said it. Reggie Miller said it. I don't think that that's a greater feeling, except unless if you're Brad Marchand, it might be if you run your life fueled on a flume of hate.
I believe that was actually the first time that Marchand won Game 7 against the Leafs in Toronto. I think all other 4 times were in Boston. So that was his first experience doing that in front of them also.
Dan, this is your thing, though. You love forcing a Game 7 for your team, even when the fan base doesn't want it. Last year, when the Panthers were up 3-0, you wanted them to blow it and go to 7, and that was not something that was going to be fun. This one, though, I'm with you. I kind of was happy that the Panthers lost Game 6 because I knew that they would go into Toronto and win Game 7. There's no more fear as a Panthers fan, and so you knew that you could experience the greatest joy of going into their barn, scoring 6 goals and winning.
All right, the barn was unnecessary there.
Very needed.
Totally
hockey guy.
No, you need that.
Right? Only part
Canadian
I liked.
arena?
Yeah, that was actually the only part I liked of what he said.
Marchand had an apple in that game, right?
The barn is not needed there. No one needed the barn. I will say to you, though, as I'm watching a champion defend its title, and you've heard me be scared of Winnipeg, be scared of Toronto, be scared of Dallas, Edmonton's the scariest. Like that, I don't know what you guys are rooting for next. Roy, you can shrug your shoulders.
I think Carolina's the scariest. Carolina's good.
That's crazy.
Okay.
It's hockey can happen to anybody.
I'm supposed to be afraid of Fredrickson.
I want to go back for a second. I want to examine, not unlike with Tony's, there's something there with Minnesota. I want to examine the conversational defect that Stugotz has when he stares at you after you've said Bob Hill, and the back and forth is, what a head of hair. Silver, right? So is he just wanting you to know that he knows that Bob Hill's hair was silver?
Special kind of
like
silver.
When he says silver right, it's not because he's asking you the question or is confused. It's because he wishes to show us that he knows the color of Bob Hill's
Bona
hair.
fide.
He's trying to make up for not knowing that J.B. Bickerstaff is even still coaching.
But was it silver? Or I feel like
burning.
I thought Bob Hill was like whitish. I didn't even know. That's why I stopped. I thought it was closer to.
Stugotz is right here. This is maybe white by the end of his career, but this is, I mean, I've got pictures of him right next to Greg Popovich in a more modern time, and that is a clear and obvious silver hair.
Look how uncomfortable he looks as coach. They all had to dress like that? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what it meant something. Yes.
That is the time that Stugotz is longing for. Again, the barn, unnecessary, and I don't know why it is that hockey people insist on referring to it as a barn. There is no other place where you go into someone else's barn.
Do you think it's insulting to, all the taxpayers in the city who pay billions of dollars to create this glorious arena, yet we're calling it a barn.
I don't. Can you give me the origins? Because Chris is back there saying this is why it's called. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know why everyone refers to going into the opposing hockey arena and only the opposing hockey arena as the barn? Do any of you know why you say this thing?
Also, does it stop being a barn when the Raptors are playing a game?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Apparently, they used to turn barns into field houses where you could play hockey in the early times of hockey. So, in turn, that's why you're going into the barn.
Anytime I walk into that arena where the Panthers play, even if I'm going to Disney on Ice, I'm saying, you ready to walk into this barn, honey?
Oh, wait a minute. What about Indiana? They play in a field house.
They do.
That's a different thing. A field house isn't a barn.
It's not a barn.
Field house is a field house.
Mm-hmm.
Barn's a totally different thing. Do you realize that Canada listens to this today, Toronto specifically, and says, listen to those idiots. They get to advance. They don't know about anything. Like every one of our grandkids grew up in a barn playing hockey.
We called it a barn. That you are in a hockey. Like they're like, whoa, these guys know puck. We called it a barn.
That's right. That's
Tony knows hockey.
Night.
Between the pipes.
You're so right. The generations of families.
No, listen to me. They're not ice fishing.
They all play hockey.
No, they're listen to me. There's a family in Toronto right now where the suffering has been passed down 100 years of caring too much. All the blankets are maple leafs. All the things in the house are maple leaf. For some reason, they've tuned into today's show to listen to what the winners sound like and how little they know about the sport that Canada cares about. It is insulting. I'm trying to think of an example I could give the audience right now of something that you care about deeply, that some other country just came around and just stole it from you again and again. And for 30 years, all you do is lose. And the worst of you is Toronto, because you get kind of close. It's not even like the other losers in Canada that just lose forever. Like, honest to God, I don't know anything about Winnipeg, except they've got the Jets, and the Jets never win anything. Like, I literally don't know anything else about Winnipeg. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know anything else about Winnipeg other than they have the Jets?
Well, it's the second time that they've had the Jets. The first Jets moved to Arizona before moving to Utah.
Second stint. Yeah.
Losers. And none of them are worse than Toronto, because Toronto gets close and then loses. And everyone knows, oh, the pressure of that got to you. Look, you didn't lose 1-0. No, they caved your head in because you couldn't handle any of that. All of it was too much. And everyone knew it before they got to the arena. When you drove to the arena, you carried my grandfather's breath, loser breath, my dad's loser breath, my kid's loser breath. All we do is lose. We get close, we're going to lose. And the Panthers win all the big games.
Especially in the road barn.
Yeah.
How?
With guys from your country.
How? With a bunch of players who are down here going to Sawgrass Mills, thrilled that no one bothers them because no one cares about hockey over there. Like, thrilled. Every last Panther that gets to walk through Sawgrass Mills loves. Do you know what it's like for McDavid and Edmonton?
I love the visual of them going to the mall after a game.
Like walking around with a suitcase.
No one bothers them.
One of those like carts you have to like pay $1 for.
Right.
If there's still a Rainforest Cafe, I bet you Barkov can eat in a corner without anyone bothering.
Sitting on one of those stools that's actually an animal butt.
I think Barkov could sit at the bar.
The animal butt stools.
Tell me I'm wrong that any one of these guys goes to Hollywood Beach and the only reason they'd get recognized is because of the Canadians who are there.
I told you at UFC last month, everyone was fawning over the celebrities who are sitting on the floor level and sitting in the row right behind me, completely inconspicuous. Sam Bennett and Aaron Ekblad just drinking beers.
Elbow room specifically, Kachuk's a king there. They know him there, but I'm with you in general.
No, but this is the thing they love so much beyond, no state income tax about living here. Fame's not a menu item. You don't get to choose how you get it. These guys do. If Kachuk wants to go drinking at the Elbow Room and be recognized, that's where he's going to go. He wants to go anywhere in Dade County? Have at it. Nobody knows who the hell you are.
I would tell them to move out of the way, but get out of the way. Who is this guy?
People are honking at him.
Ekblad. I don't know.
You're fighting him.
You could put a lineup, and I wouldn't be able to pull up Ekblad.
Let's do that. Let's do the game where we put coaches in front of
Thank
Stugotz
you.
and hockey players in front of you, and let's just have an ignorant off.
Imagine, seriously, Don Nelson walking through Sawgrass Mills back in the 80s.
I want to play this game now. I want to play the game. Who can I put in front of Tony and Stugotz to make this work the best? And
It's going to be a boring game for Tony. Oh, who's that player? I don't know.
I know.
Next.
But what? Imagine how it makes Toronto feel when that's what knocks out Matthews.
All right, let's do some post game. Let's bring Juju aboard here. Hello, Juju. How are you today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I thought the Celtics loss wouldn't hit me as hard as it did, but that thing was hitting, brothers. Like whenever it was one thing to lose. Like I do admit we would rather see the New York Knicks face the Pacers and potentially the Timberwolves and the Thunder over a Tatumless Boston. That'll be boring. We wouldn't get any new fans to the NBA that way. But as a Celtics fan, when they pan to the crowd and they showing John Stewart, Malik Yoba, Xena Warrior Princess, the cast of Party of Five, it just hit me straight in the heart. It's like it just hurts so bad. This series took years off of my life, and I'm willing to admit that nothing hurts as worse as this series has hurt me.
I mean, Juju, you just said you're doing good when I asked you, and then you went on a whole deal about how you lost years of your life.
And you won a title last year.
I mean, I want to give the people what they want. They don't want me to come on here being like, oh, I didn't care. I like Chris Whittingham earlier. Yeah, I had the bad take, but I still feel convicted. No, I don't feel convicted. Actually, I was sad as hell, and I want to admit that in front of the world.
All
Listen,
right.
pal. I love you, Juju, and I never want to see you sad. I'm happy you're sad about this. Thank you for telling us.
I can dig it, and I definitely deserve it, man. Rooting for Boston in the Miami show, I deserve this.
Juju, we know you're all over the WNBA. You got the jerseys hanging up there. What did you make of Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark this weekend?
Yeah, man, I think the world, we got to pump the brakes on some of our takes between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. It's a basketball play. It's a basketball move. They called a flagrant foul. Angel got upset. I don't think we have to go to the race wars every single time Angel does anything, or Caitlin to that matter. I think those ladies deserve way more respect for their basketball games versus the angry mobs that come out whenever they get an opportunity to.
Did you see any commentary that you didn't agree with?
I mean, we got people like RG3 out here. We got a lot of people trying to get in the spotlight these days. I feel like they're take artists these days. They're not really – I don't remember these people being so loud about the WNBA before Caitlin Clark came. I've been here a fan of the WNBA for years and years, and so I feel like the people who are new to the space, they should at least wipe their feet at the door and talk about the actual game before they get into how they don't like this or what they don't like about it. You feel me?
So, Juju, you're talking about Dan, right?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not talking about Dan at all.
Come on.
Okay, sure.
Kind of sounds like it.
Absolutely. Nah, I'm talking about the RG3s of the world. I'm talking about the Dave Portnoys of the world. I'm talking about, I got a long list of people, but I'm about peace and unity. So I don't want to bring those people any light on our broadcast. But at the same time, I just feel like we should show the women more respect than just the hyping up of the negativity. Like Nafisa Collier had a great weekend, got 2 wins this weekend with her Minnesota Lynx. A lot of good stuff happening around the league, and we're focusing on that one moment like it was the biggest. Look, the sky got blew out. Newsflash, the Fever are doing great. DeWanna Bronner crossed the 3rd all-time leading scorers list. She passed Tina Thompson. You feel me? Like it's a lot going on more than that one moment. You feel me?
Juju, what was the audience reaction today to us talking hockey for basically the first 2 hours of the show?
Yes, luckily we have a big support group from Florida and Miami. But yeah, the people in there who are, let's just say, from Kansas and Nebraska, they didn't really give a damn as much as we did. But thank you for your listeners, your loyal listeners.
All right, let's update the polls, Juju, if you have them. The polls at Le Batard Show on Twitter. I think we had a bunch today, Ju.
Hell yeah. I'm going to need my brother. Oh, dang. Well, I need some help with this one. Don't judge me for reading this bad. Sin vergüenza descarado.
You got it.
Nailed it.
Kind of nailed it. Sin
Oh,
vergüenza y descarado.
Okay, there we go. 77% of the audience says C.
Biz nasty rat bastard. Stole my bit.
Right, I couldn't believe that. Now, come on, we can't be stealing bits across these platforms. I would see if they was worshiping some kind of throne, but they put the pictures on the actual candles, just like our great Sambo Selly. Tony, you have been robbed. I will fight to the death to defend your honor.
Thank you, my brother.
Do you ever see red and white striped peppermints anywhere other than in a bowl at a restaurant?
Nope.
75% of the audience says no, they do not. Worst take in show history.
Oh, jeez. Dan
on Roy Hibbert, Witty on the Panthers, Stugotz on Patrick Mahomes, or Dan on the Lions. 70% of the audience says Stugotz with Patrick Mahomes.
Wow. Thank you.
Congrats.
Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Should Reggie Miller be in the Hall of 9 Seconds?
Yeah, got it.
90% of the audience says yes, he should.
Makes sense.
Guy's not a Hall of Famer.
Is there always going to be a Bickerstaff coaching somewhere? 95% of the audience says yes.
Detroit.
Is every single Maple Leafs fan a loser? 78% of the audience says yes, they are.
All right.
Better feeling, winning Game 7 on the road or winning Game 7 at home? 52% of the audience says on the road. Yeah, salute to the Joker. That was a tough way to go out for the quote-unquote MVP.
Awful.
Shame on you for that performance.
Thank you, Juju.
Hell yeah. I think the world wants to see Minnesota versus New York in the finals because of the Cat and Julius Randle trade, Dante DiVincenzo. That'd be awesome.
It's the rare trade that actually worked out for both sides. It's crazy.
Right.
Like we say it all the time, but this one did.
Right. Like we are one series away from that happening, and we are also away from one series away from Pacers versus Thunder, which I don't think I would want to watch all of those games.
like Pacers Thunder. I'm telling you, the Pacers villainry in that point, I would be really awesome to watch them go against the best team of the NBA. That's all I'm saying.
And that says a lot right there. Do you know why hockey arenas are called barns? 80% of the audience says no. Do you know anything about Winnipeg other than they have the Jets? 82% of the audience says no, and those are your polls.
All right, you. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow, my man.
Yes, sir.